right, John, are you ready? Are you ready? It's time. It's time. You better be fucking ready. I asked you over here. I said it's time for the podcast. Are you ready? You said yeah, and then you showed up. So if you're not ready now, that's going to be a pretty serious problem.
I think I'm ready.
You think you're ready?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I'm ready. Don't think you're ready. Know that you're ready for the world famous, listened to by over 1,500 people, Rage Select podcast here on Rage Select. I am Jeff.
Okay, give me a second here.
Okay.
1 second.
Okay. I'm waiting.
I'm John.
Uh-huh.
And I am now officially ready.
All right, great. Excellent. John is finally ready. God damn, it took you long enough. So yeah, it's time for another podcast.
Yes.
And boy, howdy, do we have it's weird how during the week leading up to the podcast, I mean, it's a little behind the scenes people don't understand, is that I don't follow daily gaming news. Like, I'll see some stuff come through my Facebook feed or a few things on Twitter, but I don't keep up with it like I used to minute, just because I'm busy doing other stuff. Yeah. Well, this week I was pulling up news stories, and
everything and its mother happened today.
I had so many news stories, and then I remembered, oh shit, right? There was also a Nintendo Direct that started when Jennifer and I started recording the podcast last week. So we have news on news with a side order of news to talk about this week. But before we do that, how's it going, John?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What have you been up to? Anything good happened to you?
Not really. I mean, right now, tax returns and paychecks.
Oh, boy, I'm afraid of my taxes.
Getting some time off next week to go out of town. Going to San Antonio just for a day trip.
Cool.
No real agenda.
Cool.
That's about it.
Okay. Now you went to Staple last week, right?
I did. You're right. I did go to Staple.
How was
that
Staple?
Did happen. That was fun. I love Staple. Staple's one of my favorite things.
John, I have to keep track of what everybody else does because I sure shit don't do anything.
Yeah, I also forget what happened 2 days ago. So,
did you buy anything good? Buy any comics?
I did. I bought some comics from a creator who I'm also really good friends with, Fabian Rangel Jr. He has a book a trilogy of graphic novels that he has called Doc Unknown. It's very pulpy, very kind of like Hellboy meets Batman, the animated series.
Okay.
It's really good.
Okay.
Recently did a book called Space Riders for a company called Black Mass that was really good. And he's also currently scripting the Lucha Underground comic books that they're doing. They're releasing for free.
Okay, not to get too far into this, but the Lucha Underground comics are comics do they have superpowers?
Well, they're all prequel stories for the TV show Lucha Underground.
Oh, okay.
They're basically telling you what happened between season 1 and 2.
Okay.
So it's wrestling.
No, very very little wrestling comic books, boy.
Yeah, and there's rumors that Lucha Underground's going to be possibly getting on Netflix, and you should totally watch it if it pops up on there because Lucha Underground is fucking awesome.
All right.
Anyways, I met Mark Chrysler, otherwise known as Commander Mark from old PBS days. He had a TV show called The Secret City and also The Creation Station or Imagination Station or something like that.
Okay.
But he went by the name of Commander Mark, and he did a thing where he taught kids to draw, childhood thing. And I was like, oh shit, he's going to be at Stable. I'm going to meet that guy.
Cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Did you ever see, what was it? There was a Twitch channel. You talk about PBS and drawing, but there was a Twitch channel. What was it, 6 months ago that was just airing Bob Ross?
Yeah, no, that was actually Twitch. Twitch did that.
Oh, it was actually, honest to God, Twitch that was doing that?
Yeah, they did that.
That was amazing. I had that on for a while now. I kind of wish that there was that they just had that one channel on repeat all the time, so that if I ever needed something in the background while I'm doing, because I try to watch shows, I watched most of House of Cards Season 4 last week while I was playing Kerbal Space Program in preparation for our little Kerbal thing.
Adventure, yes.
Yes, and it's hard to watch House of Cards and play a game at the same time.
Yeah, I would assume.
Fucking Bob Ross, it is so easy to play something else or do something else or whatever and just have that...
We're going to put a little Happy Bush
motherfucker on in the background. Bush. Yeah, and then you just turn back to him and you're like, oh shit, he's done half of it. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid that watching him on PBS and just being like, he's like a fucking wizard, man. You see what he did? He just put some paint on that knife and now there's a river there. What the fuck? It was like he had magical powers. I miss Bob
He does
Ross.
have magical powers.
Yeah.
Didn't you know that?
I didn't.
He is magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and the frugal gourmet before he got all there's bad things that happen there.
But yeah, so I mean, other than that, bought some comics from Fabian Rangel Jr. Saw some friends that I have that always have booths there and things like that. We didn't really stay there that long. It was kind of like a quick, because most of the people there that we would have bought stuff from, we've bought all their stuff previously, and most of the new people, it's like, just not interested in what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's cool though.
I don't know. People have asked. I've had a few people ask me like whether I know that this week South by Interactive is starting like over the weekend or something like that.
No, that's next week.
Next week, okay.
Because I go out of town Saturday, come back not Saturday. I go out of town Monday, come back Tuesday, and then the interactive starts on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that that they announced what they're going to be showing, like the Batman Telltale thing at South by Southwest.
Oh, are they?
Some kind of panel. But you guys got to understand that South by Southwest is a mess. It's like, in fact, over the last week, there was this article that if you're not from Facebook, you probably didn't see. John, I don't know if you did see
Oh, no,
this.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where, so on Friday, South by Southwest is kicking off.
Tomorrow, on Friday.
Tomorrow, as of recording this. But on Friday, or last Friday, when this goes up, South by Southwest is kicking off, and President Obama is coming to speak, right? So South by Southwest has this huge influx of people into Austin. And if you live here, it's just the fucking worst. Like, everything is crowded and blah, blah, blah. And the thing that pisses me off about South by Southwest, and it's, I don't know how this sounds to other people on the internet, but like I used to enjoy South by Southwest because the number of people that came into town was there was a lot, but it wasn't a huge number, to the point where if you lived here and you didn't have enough money to buy a $1,500 badge, you could still like pick a show or two that you wanted to go to. Show up a little bit early, wait in the line until the badge holders had gone in, and then get into it. Now it's just like lines everywhere for everything. Or it was the last time that I went. And it pissed me off to the point where I was just like, one of my favorite bands was coming to town and I wanted to see them, but I couldn't. And I can't afford the pass. I mean, like, I can't afford the tickets for ACL every year, where they have these huge things. It kind of just sucks that I live in this town, and that this just adds up to a massive inconvenience. Anyway, the fucking mayor of Austin put out this thing that was like, hey, Austinites, if you can work from home on Friday, you probably should, because this town's going to be destroyed between the president and South by Southwest influx of people.
Also,
roads are just going to be fucked.
If you are a business owner and you can't let your employees work from home, I implore you to let them leave early.
Yeah.
They also are shutting down schools early.
Really?
In that are downtown, like elementary schools and middle schools, they're actually closing them early and letting kids go home early so that they can get them out before the rush.
That's I don't know that,
because our roadways and everything are so fucked.
Yes, please, like one more second, and then we'll move on. Like, because I don't. The last thing I want to do on a podcast is get into a detailed discussion about the infrastructure problems in Austin. But we haven't upgraded the fucking roads in this town in forever.
Well, the problem is we can't.
Yeah, because the way that they're built, you can't build anyway. There's too many cars already for the number of roads, and then they hold this bullshit and a bunch of people come into town, making the whole thing even worse. So fuck it. I'm going to sit here and play Borderlands or
Here's the thing,
Division.
I mean, I'll say this. I like South by Southwest. I don't complain about it as much as some people. And
you're talking about me, aren't
no,
you?
No, I'm not.
Talking about me.
Actually, you're not one of the people I'm talking about. But I do know quite a few people that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know quite a few people that I'm talking about.
I just shut up and stay home. That's why.
So it's like there are always people. It's like every time South by Southwest starts up, Facebook becomes this feed of fuck all these people coming here, get out of my city, don't move here, blah 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 blah. And half of them are like, man, I hate all these people that come to Austin for South by Southwest or want to move to Austin for because of South by Southwest, and they just need to stay out of my city. And it's like, bitch, you're not even from Austin originally. You moved here. Fuck you.
And see, that is the one leg that I have to stand on, is that I was born and raised in this town.
And again, that's why I was not talking about you.
So I'm the one person that I know that could just be like, so you all can get the fuck out of here.
It's like, it's like, and on top of that, it's like if South by Southwest went away, half of those people probably wouldn't even live here because this town would be boring as fuck.
I disagree a little bit. I think that there's a lot of charm and stuff to do in Austin. I think that, though, Austin has gotten way overhyped.
It has. It has a little bit.
I live here. There's a lot of cool stuff to do here, but it's also just a mess. The whole town is just kind of a fucking mess.
I love living here, though. So for me,
right.
I don't really complain that much outside of saying, yeah, I wish we had better roadways.
Yeah.
Like logistical things that logically, even if we weren't talking about South by Southwest, I wish I could say, hey, we need better roadways because that would help things all the time.
Yep. No, we really need. They really need to do is just commit. The problem is that unfortunately we've gotten into this position where it's like if you started now. You would not be able, when you finish the project to alleviate the current traffic problems, you would just have new traffic problems to deal with. Anyway, fuck that. That is fucking Austin traffic. This is not the point of this podcast.
This has been your Austin Traffic Report here on Rage Select Network.
I hope you guys all enjoyed that. And those of you that are... Now, that is not to say... I'm going to say this right now because we still got a little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
If you are coming to town for South by Southwest and you want to hang out with us and have a drink, let
us know.
Let us know. DM me on Twitter or John or Jason or somebody. Let us know that you're going to be in town. It doesn't take much to coax me out of my house into a bar.
That's all you have to say. It doesn't take much to coax him out of his house to a bar.
Yes, yeah. You'd be like, "Hey, Jeff, do you want to meet up somewhere?" It's like, "I'm already wasted. You could come here if you want to."
Do you want to meet me up at Jim's?
You want to meet at Jim's? You know what, John? It pains me to say this. I don't know that I can go to gyms anymore.
Oh no!
So I'm starting to I started doing this experiment where I went back to Whataburger instead of going to gyms, and I found that when I wake up after a bender and eating Whataburger, that my stomach is less messed up than when I go to gyms. I think that the greasiness in the gyms is actually causing my hangover worse. It's causing indigestion on top of hangover. Plus, all of my waitresses have been replaced by like these kind of not really super friendly waiter dudes, and I'm just like, so I don't know. Maybe I'll let you guys know if I stop. It's like we're transitioning here at Rage Select.
Now with the food
things.
Minute over.
That's right. All right,
let's move on to the news.
Wait, before we go to the news, we got one other little quick piece of awesomeness, and that is that as of today, a brand new Captain America Civil War trailer came out, and holy balls, is it great?
Yeah, it looks great. I love it.
Looks absolutely fantastic.
I've already got tickets to go see it when it comes out.
Did you pre-order?
I did not. But I know someone who did.
Okay.
And they pre-ordered tickets for me and Amanda as well.
All right. Pre-order gifts. All right. I still don't condone it.
Well,
anyway.
It's because, her boss at the comic shop at Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas, buys tickets for all the employees and their spouses to...
That's one of the things I really miss about working for like a big tech corporation is they used to just... Like when I worked for Microsoft and The Dark Knight came out, they were just like, all right, we rented out like 6 theaters. Everybody getting in the car.
Yeah.
We're going to go see Dark Knight because we all know that you'll take off early to go see it if we don't take you. So,
anyway,
though, back to this trailer. Absolutely phenomenal. It's funny, when they first announced that they were doing the Civil War storyline, I had some misgivings about it because
Me too,
I know
because I hate that comic.
Yeah, that the comic isn't super well received, but it seems to fit with the tone of the universe more in this context than it did for me in the comics, because there's like a 2 dozen heroes in the entirety of the Marvel Universe MCU.
I also
now.
feel like they're not, while we haven't seen it in the trailer, I feel like what fans know of as Civil War being the Superhero Registration Act and things like that, I don't think it's that. Yeah, I think it's something else.
Yes, I do too. It seems really interesting. In fact, it also, as I was saying to you before we started, it makes a lot more sense this early on in the whole universe that they have created for this to come up instead of 40, 50 years into Marvel when there's just like a shitload of superheroes.
Where the universe has been made and unmade multiple times, and then one explosion near a school and everybody freaks out.
Right, yeah. Was that where Speedball became
Penance?
Was that Civil War?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, where they fucked over the character of Speedball
Somebody was telling
almost
me
irreparably.
Well, somebody told me that character actually got really good at some point.
Well, they reverted him back to Speedball, and he actually got good.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the trailer instead of talking a little bit around the trailer. So basically, I mean, we're seeing. It seems like from the two trailers that are out already, what we can glean is that it seems like this whole thing kind of focuses around Bucky, right? That
it
Cap
does.
wants to give Bucky a second chance, and that the powers that be / Iron Man and his group are like, no, fuck that guy. He's terrible, and there's going to be kind of a split between the two of them. We're going to have the two teams fighting each other. I'm actually really looking forward to what this does to the other Marvel movies going forward of having this continual conflict happening.
I like the stuff we get to see with the Black Panther in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the aspect of what some of the different things that we're seeing in here. Some of which I recognize from the comics, some of which I don't.
Yeah.
And then I also really like the reveal at the end of the trailer.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a minute because I think that a couple of my favorite parts of this trailer was there's this part right here where Iron Man has one Iron Man gauntlet that comes out of his watch, and he's kind of having this fist fight with Bucky. And Bucky, I think this was in the other trailer too.
Yeah, it was
where Bucky has a gun and shoots him, and the only thing that stops him is his hand. And I think that the look on Robert Downey Jr.'s face about you just fucking tried to murder me.
Yeah,
this really kind of this escalation of we could beat the hell out of each other, but you just tried to fucking shoot me in the face. And if I hadn't have thought ahead, I would have be dead right now. That's just kind of a really affecting little, just this facial expression that he has is I don't know, does something for me. That, and then I really like their the little fighting montage where you see the Ant-Man riding on top of one of Hawkeye's arrows.
Which is so awesome.
Yeah, and I really also like, it's very quick, but you'll miss it, that we see crossbones, actual crossbones. I just like the way that he looks. He's got kind of looks like he's just in a lot of armor type of thing. Is he super powered in the books?
He has a little bit of power to him.
He's kind of like Captain America's Bane, right?
Kind of, but not as powerful as Captain America. He's probably not as strong.
Okay.
He doesn't have a version of the super soldier serum, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And then at the very end, it's funny because I watched that and I was like, man, that trailer was awesome. And at the very end, Iron Man is what does he call him? Underoos?
Oh, Underoos, yeah, because he's the only hero there that's wearing underwear.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Pajamas.
Everybody else is wearing their leather kind of X-Men outfits, right?
Yeah, and he's got a spandex pajamas.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man! And I like the way he just takes Captain America's shield away. I like the Spider-Man costume.
Yeah, I like it. I think it looks great.
I don't know. It's a little... It's kind of got that zhuzh of it's kind of got the MCU zhuzh on it with the little black stripes, but
I also feel because a lot of people I've seen complain is that the webbing isn't as pronounced. I think that may just be the trailer. I think when we see it in the movie, it's gonna pop more.
When he webs up?
No, the webbing on his costume. The black webbing on his...
Oh, yeah.
How he's supposed to have, webbing all over his costume. He does.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
I think,
I think the trailer, with as quick as a cut as it is, it's not as pronounced as much. And
it's also really... it's really bright. It's really saturated in this area, so it might not
So
really
I think when you
out.
actually see it in the movie, it's going to pop more.
I tell you what, though, the two things that I really like about this is I really like the size of his eye holes. I really like the look of that Spider-Man.
They adjust based on his facial expression.
Oh yeah,
They get bigger and smaller.
Yep, and then I also really like the little spider. You got the little spider on his
spider
chest.
On the chest.
Yep, instead of the big. Yeah. I really did not care for the costume in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I'm gonna be honest. I actually have not watched either Amazing Spider-Man or Amazing
Really?
Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Well, consider yourself do we know who's playing Spider-Man yet?
I don't know the kid's name, but we do know. I've seen pictures of him.
Okay.
I even saw him doing some parkour stuff, in a gymnasium. Video of him just doing stuff.
Okay.
To kind of show that while yes, there will be a stuntman. There's while yes, there will be a stuntman, there's also he's going to be doing a lot of his own stuff too.
Great. Okay.
The kid has apparently gone out of his way to be able to do stuff.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Whoa.
It's a young kid.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The picture you're looking at is actually too young.
Yeah.
But like he's older than that now.
Okay.
But he's still pretty young.
Yeah, because I pulled this up. He's like an 8-year-old. I'm like, holy shit, man.
No, he's like 15 or 16 now.
It's funny. I really hope that this weird licensing crossover thing with him works because Deadpool was like so an MCU movie to me. Like it was so
had a helicarrier in it, even though they didn't call it a helicarrier.
Yeah, like it's that movie kind of so belonged. Like it felt like it could have been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as opposed to like it just was less glitzy than like what was the last X-Men movie? No, not Apocalypse. It was the one Days of Future Past.
Days
right?
of Future Past.
Where it's all magical powers and shit going. Like that was a little bit more down to earth with guns and stuff. Like I felt that Deadpool totally could have been part of this whole universe, and I would love it if the Spider-Man thing goes well. If they could just reintroduce mutants back into the MCU.
Well, here's the problem with that. And the problem is that Sony and Marvel have actually always been on good standing.
Yeah.
Since Marvel started doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've worked really well with Sony. Fox does not want to work with does not want to give Marvel an inch.
Oh, okay.
Fox is like, no, we own the rights to mutants and movies. We are not working with you. We make enough money on our own. Go fuck yourself.
Boo.
Like it's because apparently Marvel has reached out to Fox on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
About asking like, hey, why don't we make your movies? Like, we don't even have to change anything. You can still do what you're doing.
Yeah.
We'll just do some things, and apparently Fox has been like, nope.
Yeah,
we want to make 100% of the money.
Man, because I would love to see. I don't know. I have fond memories of it, even though I don't know. It's been a while since I read it of the Ultimates Universe Avengers versus X-Men storyline.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like one or two comics, and I know that a lot of people don't like the Ultimates stuff. I mean, some of it is bad and some of it is good, but I kind of like that one. So I feel like that could be a really interesting setup for a movie if you were able to bring them back in a, after, because Civil War is obviously going to be leading to a year worth of paranoia before Avengers 3 creates a not to spoil anything, there's going to be a threat that will probably end up bringing people back together, or I don't know, they might resolve it in one of those storylines.
Who knows?
I've forgotten what the movie roster is. Like, are there other MCU movies coming out this year?
If I'm not mistaken, Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, so Doctor Strange and Thor.
Those may not even be coming out. Like Doctor Strange may be coming out later this year, whereas Thor may be coming out beginning of next year.
Okay,
I can't remember exactly, but I think those are the next two in line.
Let's see.
Is Doctor Strange and Thor Ragnarok.
Marvel Cinematic Universe films. There they are. Let's see what we got here.
And then I feel like there's one other that I just can't think of off the top of my head.
Phase 1. No. So
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is...
Doctor Strange is the only other one this year.
Okay, yeah.
And then next year it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man. Oh, they're doing like full-on...
Sony is, yeah. But
it's now part of the MCU.
It's now part of it, yes.
And then, let's see, Thor Ragnarok, and then, and then Black Panther. So we're not getting the next Avengers until 2018.
Which it's going to be a two-parter.
Oh, right.
Like
so
it's
that's
broken
part
up into
one.
two movies.
But it's not like part 1 and then part 2. It's because it's Black Panther and then Avengers 2018 part 1, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp 2018, Captain Marvel 2019, and then part 2 Avengers in 2019. God damn. Boy. Whew.
This is going to be interesting if they actually get all of these movies off the ground the way they're wanting to do it.
If it all pans out, that's going to be that would be a thing. That would be a cinematic achievement the likes of which I've never seen before.
Yeah.
This many connected films over this amount of time.
Yeah, I agree.
The closest thing that you would have would probably be something like Bond or Star Wars, but even those were all the same movie, instead of having these weird disparate movies.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, enough yappity back and schmackity schmack.
All right.
It's time for the news, and we have a big old Nintendo Direct to start with, and I'm going to go ahead and try to run through this fairly easily.
All right.
Or fairly quickly. Fucking Bill Trinan, that robot. Anyway.
So I guess Bill Trinan has kind of taken over the Reggie role.
Apparently, yeah. I feel like Reggie comes out from time to time, but yeah, he's his dumb robot face is on there for most of it. So they cut away to a couple of developers, but I don't know. There's just something so fucking phony about this guy that it's like have some personality.
All right.
At least Reggie had the kind of weird, he had the training for Smash Brothers and kind of weird. This guy, he's just like. I don't know. I have a feeling that Bill Trinen may not actually exist in real life. He's just a script that Nintendo
he's actually the most advanced graphical interface.
That's right.
That there is on the planet.
That's why we can't get a new Metroid game, because they've been developing Bill Trinen technology for the last 2 years. Anyway, whole thing starts out with Star Fox, and they have some interesting things where they talk about that, like, it seems like there's going to be a lot of branching going on in Star Fox.
Yeah, which is great.
So branching, they talk about how there's going to be branching inside of the levels to different areas. There's going to be little secret paths. Kind of like, it's been so long since I played Star Fox.
Kind of like the original Star Fox.
Yeah.
Or Star Fox 64 or whatever.
See, I never played 64. I played the original.
I played every Star Fox game except for Adventures.
Oh.
Because that wasn't originally supposed to be a Star Fox game.
Right. But yeah, apparently there's going to be a whole bunch of like little. I mean, it's set up in the same fashion of stages that then branch into other stages. So apparently, it's going to have a cool amount of replay value where you're going to be able to go back and go through areas in different ways. And I'm like, that sounds great. That sounds like a way to keep things moving along.
Yeah, I actually really want to play the Star Fox game.
Can you tell me who Star Wolf is?
Star Wolf, if I'm not mistaken, is Star Fox's arch nemesis.
Okay,
it's like he flies a team that is like the evil version of the Star Fox team.
Okay.
Star Wolf leader Wolf is, if I remember correctly, was actually the guy who shot his father down.
No, you shot my paw.
Like he used to be the best friend of the father or whatever, and then he betrayed him or something.
Ah, damn you, Star Wolf.
If I remember correctly, I could be wrong.
So yeah, apparently, I don't know if this has been shown before, but you're going to have a bunch of encounters with him where you get to do dog fights and stuff. The other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was there's going to be a 2-player co-op mode where one person can fly with the classic controller, then the person can shoot with the using the motion controller, the pad.
Yeah, and isn't there another game that they're releasing on the same day that's like it's a digital download game?
Yes, we're getting a little bit ahead of it.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine because we're just about done. I mean, just to say, I'm still excited for this game. I mean, it looks like a fun game. So,
yeah, I really want to play this because it
also
looks good.
Has amiibo support. If you have the Star Fox from Smash Brothers, to put the original R-Wing model in, so you can play as
that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the SNES R-Wing model. But yeah, there's another game called Star Fox Guard that's coming out the same day and will be packaged. There'll be a retail package. I don't know if it's going to be a higher price than normal, but it's going to come with both of them. So Slippy's uncle Grippy has created these mining things, and basically it's this weird thing where you put down a bunch of cameras and then it's a tower defense game.
Oh.
And then you switch between the different turrets, and then you use the Wii U. The Wii U controller has you can switch between the different turrets and then shoot at stuff.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be free. It's not really
it's a free game.
Yeah, okay, no, it's going to be free if you buy the retail version of Star Fox.
Oh, okay.
Or you can buy the digital version at a reduced price, and then you can buy this separately. So if you want to buy it retail, you're going to be getting both of them. But if you buy it digitally, you've got to buy them one at a time.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if they're going to line up. It's going to be like $40 for just Star Fox, and then or $50 for Star Fox and $10 for that or whatever.
Okay.
Seems like
it'll probably be something different where it's cheaper if you get them together.
Probably. One of the interesting things there that they showed is that you can program your own waves. You can basically it looks like the Mario Paint musical creator, where you can create your own waves and then upload those and then download other people's waves and try to beat them in this little thing. I don't know. It seems like a kind of just a little funsies. Let's see. Next up, there is a shitload of. You know what? I'm actually going to. No, we'll just take these in order. Splatoon is getting some updates.
Cool.
I don't know. There's a shitload to talk about with that. There's a balance update that's coming in to balance out some of the. They're trying to bulk up some of the powers that aren't used as much so that people will use them. There's also going to be Volume 1 and Volume 2 updates that basically have weapon and item combinations that are suggested by the guy in the store.
Okay.
Some of the most popular ones out there that are going to have some bonuses. And they're coming in, April or whatever. I don't know. I don't have anything against Splatoon. It's just there's a lot of this. We're going to be this particular side, this little tidbit of information is going to be repeated over and over again because this particular Nintendo Direct had a bunch of these types of things. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Do you care?
Not really.
Okay, neither do I. There's going to be rugby. That's going to be new.
Okay.
And there's one moment in the trailer where apparently they're going to have rhythm gymnastics is going to be new, and they had just like a brief split second of Tails dancing around with those little batons with the little ribbons on the end of it, and I was like, I could not be less interested in this. Like, I do not know how I could be less interested in this game. Anyway, coming to the 3DS and the Wii U, whatever. Super Mario Maker is getting some new updates. They're adding in keys so that you can. So they're adding in keys that you can put on characters or in the world, or you can also put these red coins where if you collect 5 of them, then you get a key in a way to basically have gate people from getting to the end of your game so that you can force them into like boss fights and things like that.
Okay.
So they're also going to be adding a new 100 Mario like super hard tracks.
Nice.
And then they're going to have some new costumes. They showed one that was what's that lady starts with a T. She's a pirate in Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
Not T. You know who I'm talking about, though, right? She's got little swirly hairs.
Yeah.
That like they had a little 8-bit version of her as one of the little suits or whatever that you can get. So if you're still into Super Mario Maker, it looks like there's. I mean, they said there's something like 6.2 million maps online now. So
yeah, I believe it.
Super Mario Maker, man.
It's awesome.
Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem has an update. Actually, this is going a lot faster than I thought it was going to. Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. John, I'm really excited for this game.
But the thing is, that's not its name anymore.
I know. It's been renamed. Do you know what the new name is?
I do not.
Because Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem was too long and complicated for people, right?
Yes.
So now it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. And Sharp is actually like the hashtag.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's referred to as Sharp instead of saying X, you say cross.
Right.
Okay, I get it.
Which is so much easier to remember than 2 names of franchises that I was super able to remember. I think that the only thing from this particular trailer, I mean, first of all, this trailer just looks fucking bananas.
It looks balls out bananas. Like,
Yep.
I don't really play the Fire Emblem games. I don't play the Shin Megami Tensei games, but I kind of...
It just looks so fucking weird.
I want to play this.
And it's like got all of this J-pop in it. It's like it's about like musicians tapping into these like music powers, and they've got all these crazy animals and stages and shit's blowing up, and like I really, really want to play it. I think it's probably the Wii U game that I am the most excited about coming out this year. They did mention that apparently there's, because the game takes, well, I don't know if this is just because they're lazy or they're making this as an excuse, but their stated thing was because the game takes place in Japan, it's all going to be Japanese voice acting. There's not going to be any English voice acting in it.
Okay, and I'm cool with that.
I don't care. I know that there's some people out there who care.
As long as there's subtitles, I don't care.
Grant probably cares, but...
Well, that's Grant.
But, I don't know. I'll ask him about it.
I'm sure he's dying to play this game.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep sending him every update of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. There was another update for... Do you remember this game, Lost Reavers?
No.
There's like a 4-person online multiplayer crypt. You've seen this. Because
Are you sure?
The last Nintendo for E3, they had this. And the Nintendo online thing for E3.
Oh, I don't remember this at all.
It's like a 4-player, kind of like Resident Evil, looking like you can customize your mercenaries, but that you're going down into like these Egyptian crypts to get like these star pods, and then you got to carry them back out, and like it looks
interesting.
It's very strange. They had a few updates for this. They showed some footage of it. It looks really bizarre. Like I can't even figure out how the fuck it's going to work. But it's Bandai Namco, and apparently there's going to be an open beta starting April 14th, and then the full release on April 28th.
Huh.
I'll tell you right now that I will not be playing the open beta because that's like the day that, or close to the day that Dark Souls 3 comes out. So
I understand.
Hey, there's going to be a new Paper Mario.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a fan of Paper Mario.
Paper Mario's pretty badass.
I've never played a Paper Mario game
fun.
before. I think that I retired my GameCube before the last one came out. I didn't have a Wii when the one after that came out. But this one is Paper Mario Color Splash. And it's this whole big thing about how color has been robbed from the world, and Mario has this like weird paint hammer that he can use to bash color back into everything.
Nice.
Seems pretty cool. I mean, I've never played one before, so I can't really tell if this
Looks
is
fun.
It looks par for the course of what I've known. Apparently, when you get into battle, you have to like paint these little individual cards and then like throw them out. There's a bunch of like super attacks that you can do. I mean, like the trailer for it looks real charming and real Mario. I'll probably play it. I'm still way more excited about Shin Megami. I'm sorry.
Understand.
I forgot the name already.
Tokyo Mirage
Sessions Sharp FE. Let's see. Next up, Pokken Tournament.
Yeah.
Which I really didn't know was a thing. But at all, John.
I knew about it because of when it got announced. It was announced as an arcade machine in Japan.
Yep.
And I honestly thought that was going to be the end of it.
Yep.
And then apparently it's on the Wii U now.
Yep.
And it's coming to the States.
Yep. Coming out. Supposed to be out in, it's actually out March 18th. It's out like
a few days after this gets posted.
Right. It's on next week.
Yeah, Friday.
And this is a Pokemon fighting game made by the makers of fucking Tekken.
Yeah, that's why it's called Pokken.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Pokemon, so I can't.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to know about Pokemon.
Right.
All you have to know is it's basically alternate reality cockfighting.
Oh, okay.
And you are now playing as the rooster.
Okay,
that is
great.
fighting other roosters.
Why has nobody ever made a cockfighting video game?
They probably have.
They probably have. It's probably a Flash game. Anyway, yeah, it looks like a weird Tekken game, except with more. I don't know. It's just real weird.
Yeah, I actually want to play it, but I don't want to buy it. So I'm just.
You can have it when I'm done with it because we're probably going to look at it on the show. I mean, I don't know. I need to go see. I think either Matt Frank or Cargill. Maybe I'll let Matt Frank and Cargill play this together.
Yeah, that'd
and just
be
not even be in the room at this point, and just be like, "There you go. You guys have fun. I'll be back. I'm interested to see who's able to talk more in this one particular episode." Anyway. Looks weird. I have no idea. Next up, I think that this is going into the part of the Nintendo Direct that I like to call the garbage part, where they basically start talking about a bunch of stuff that is, at least in my opinion, total and complete garbage.
All right.
So first up, there's going to be a. I actually skipped over this where they talked about the whole My Nintendo thing, and you get reward points, and I don't care about that. Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge is going to be a free. What's the little toy Mario game called? Like March of the Minis, Mario and Donkey Kong. It's going to be like that, but it's going to be a free download that you can use specifically with Amiibos. You put them down, and then you go through tracks for each individual Amiibo, and each individual Amiibo has different powers, and they all look like the little wind-up toys, right? Whatever. It's what it is. Here's a kick in the balls to a bunch of people. So did you know that the Virtual Console on the 3DS is going to be getting Super Nintendo games?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that those Super Nintendo games are only going to be available on the new 3DS and not any of the previous 3DSs?
I did not know that, but I'm not surprised by it.
Because, and when asked about it, Nintendo was like, well, we don't feel like the performance on the 3DS was good enough to release them there. Which kind of seems like horseshit since there's, 6 Super Nintendos in one 3DS? So, I mean, they could have put that shit out on the Game Boy Advance. Fuck, I bought those games on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
F-Zero and Super Mario World and all that stuff. Anyway, I don't know. Seems cool. I will never be able to understand, though, why Nintendo feels the need to roll out these older games instead of just being like, here's all of them, right? Because they're putting out, there were 3 that are coming on one day, and then 3 more coming in late March, and then 3 more mid-April, and
I think they're worried that if they just put them all out, some games will get lost in the shuffle and will never get sales. So what they do is they put one really popular game with 2 maybe not as popular games.
Oh, it's weird because they started out and their launch is launch games for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So it's Super Mario World, F-Zero, and Pilot Wings. And I'm like, just don't release Pilot Wings. Dude, fuck Pilot Wings. That game was awful. Or I don't know. I don't like Pilot Wings. I know Pilot Wings.
Some people do.
Anyway, the only games that I was really interested in were Super Metroid and Earthbound and Yeah, here's the thing. March 3rd, Pilotwings Super Mario World F-Zero. And then, come on, move forward. March 24th, Super Mario Kart Earthbound, Donkey Kong Country. And then April 14th, Zelda Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Donkey Kong Country 2. So, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through this next
Again,
part.
I think it's they don't want one of the games to get lost in the shuffle, so they're releasing them in like small batches.
Yeah.
So that
I get it. It's just irritating to me because I really just like to play Super Metroid on my 3DS, and I got to wait.
yeah,
Even though I own a Super Nintendo and I could just play it on my TV.
Yep.
All right, so let's go through these pretty quickly. There's a bunch of 3DS shit coming up. Pocket Card Jockey, which is solitaire horse racing.
Hey,
I don't even know who the fuck was smoking what when they came up with that because it just seems like, I don't know.
it's almost as probably not as interesting as Winston Churchill's solitaire thing.
I don't know. Apparently, you play the solitaire while the horses are racing, and it makes them faster if you win or something.
All right, interesting.
As Your Striker Gunvolt 2 is coming out.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a side-scrolling thing. They had a lot of very in-depth details about characters in that game that I don't know, so I couldn't really tell you. Fire Emblem Fates is out this month, which apparently there's a lot of like DLC for the new Fire Emblem. I just got sidetracked and didn't finish it.
I know nothing about it.
Hyrule Warriors Legends is coming out, and they're going to have. They talked a lot about the different characters. They talked about Linkle. They talked about what Medley, character from Wind Waker that has like a nose and plays a harp or whatever.
Yeah,
it's going to be downloadable for both of them. And Disney Art Academy, which seemed kind of weird. It's going to be like a tutorial on how to draw a bunch of Disney characters with a little drawing software
That's
on the 3DS.
neat.
Yeah, it's going to have a bunch of different art styles and different things. It's fine. I mean, a lot of it is a lot. I don't mean to be super dismissive about all this. It's just a lot of it is like, hey, if you're into that, great. If not, whatever. I'm not super into it just because I like to save my 3DS for things like Bravely Second and Lair, which is next up on the thing.
Okay.
When they talk about some new jobs, they talk a little bit more about the Wizard, which apparently can just take other...
Is that like the Wizard, the movie?
Yes.
With Fred Savage?
I was going to say Ralph Macchio, but you are correct and I am wrong because that was not Ralph Macchio.
No, that was Fred Savage.
Yeah.
And Christian Slater.
And
The lead singer of Rilo Kiley.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, like, this wizard class can, like, use different magics and put them together and make new spells. But the craziest one was they were announcing another new class, the Catmancer. The Catmancer is able to take cats, train them to copy enemy abilities, and then give them treats to make them do that in battle.
Huh.
The fuck? I mean, seriously? Catmancer.
I'm
glad I live in a world.
What?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Great. Yep. For those of you who haven't,
And if the Catmancer is not an old woman, though, I will be just like an old woman who lives by herself who just happens to have a lot of cats. I'd be really disappointed.
no, it's really strange. I don't know. It's Catmancer. Anyway, there's a new demo actually out for the game, which is like a side interstitial side story.
Yeah.
Came out today.
Oh,
so
neat.
I downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet,
You gonna
but
Catmancer it up?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what I can do. I liked Bravely Default. I just haven't. I never beat it.
I've never played any of them.
I like Bravely Default because unlike you and I were talking about the Capcom game. Or what is it that you're playing?
Oh, Project Crosszone.
Project Crosszone is that Bravely Default actually has like an auto battle system for random encounters that I really enjoy. We could just be like, yeah, just do it, do whatever.
Well, and that's the thing. My game isn't like random encounters. It's a tactical RPG where you have a map and you have to move your characters around a board to fight.
Yeah.
So,
and then let's see. Let's roll through a bunch of this because we still have a shitload of news after this.
yep.
Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, is a remake of Dragon Quest VII for the 3DS. It was actually released in Japan in 2013, but it's coming over here.
Oh, okay.
Monster Hunter Cross is coming across in the summer of this year as Monster Hunter Generations.
Okay.
There's going to be Marth armor. Then they had a thing where they talked with the main developer about Metroid Prime Federation Force. It was actually really funny because the intro to it was, now we're going to talk about a game that we showed at E3, and a lot of you didn't seem to understand. It was almost like they were chastising people for not enjoying Metroid Prime Federation Force. Having watched it, I can say that I still have little to no interest in Metroid Prime
Everyone
Federation
is
Force.
still pissed off because it's not a true Metroid game.
I don't mind that it doesn't have Samus.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
What I mind, well, first of all, they talk about the way that it started development in 2009, apparently for the original DS, but then they had scrapped it because the DS didn't have the power. It also didn't have enough controls. And they said when they saw the new 3DS with the C stick that they decided to bring it back up and try it again. Apparently, it's going to focus on space pirates versus the Galactic Federation. You're going to have this like customizable thing where you can kind of kit out to be like a DPS or a healer or things like that in a 4-person squad. But the thing that really just rubs me the wrong way about this, and I don't know if you feel the same way, John, is the look of it. Like, it looks kind of like Prime, except that the characters are all like super deformed.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why they have let's see if I can find the part in the trailer because they had a little trailer at the end where they were talking about it. So like this little guy down this box down here is like what the people in this world look like, and they're like these super deformed. Like they got the big heads and like teeny tiny bodies. I'm like, but that's just not an art style that we've ever seen in Metroid. Metroid has just generally been like regular sized people, right? So I guess that's really the thing. I mean, I don't know. The whole game just doesn't look super great to me. I don't know.
It also doesn't scream Metroid to me. But
no.
You know,
well, I mean, kind of Prime a little bit, but again, everything just seems like it's really cartoony, and I don't know.
it actually reminds me more of Halo.
Yeah,
the designs, like the chibi version of Halo.
Yeah,
characters.
I can see that. I mean, I can see that. And it's not even, I mean, it's not a bad idea for a video game, right? Of a handheld, 4-person, like couch co-op in the Metroid universe, a side story, but just the way that the interface is set up on the screen, like everything seems too big, and I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be a fun game.
Maybe so. I mean, hey, whatever. Nintendo generally tends to make not the worst games in the world. Rhythm Heaven Megamix is coming out, which is basically just more Rhythm Heaven. Like they showed a trailer for it. Apparently, it's going to have like stuff from the original Game Boy Advance version that never was released here. Whatever. And last but not least, Kirby Planet Robobot.
Oh, Kirby.
Yeah, I know that you're a big fan of Kirby. You've seen the trailer for this.
I'm a fan of Kirby. I played the Kirby games. I like the Kirby games.
Yeah.
But yes, I have seen the trailer for this. The fact that there's Kirby's now got a mech suit.
Yep. You got regular Kirby who can absorb powers, then you've also got Kirby in a big mech suit
that can also absorb other mech suits' powers.
They can also do that. Yeah. The whole thing, a lot of it, they spent a lot of time in this talking about all of the different amiibos. Like they're bringing out a bunch of Kirby amiibos, and those amiibos will give you powers that you can't get anywhere else. And it's just like, I don't know. Like I got that Chibi Robo Ziplash game or whatever, and I played it. It was fun, but after about 4 hours, I was just like, I'm like not really into this anymore. Also, this is weird 4-player online boss rush mode.
Yeah.
Where you and your friends get to pick like different Kirbys with different powers and then level them up and be like healers or DPS or things like that. Really strange. I don't know where
really
this came
strange,
from.
but sure.
Yeah. I mean, as a free thing on this Kirby game, fine.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever skis.
Something to play with your friends. I'm down for that.
Sure. And that's it. That's all we got for the Nintendo Direct. And now that we are, oh my God, so behind. Let's get to the other news. Oh,
and
goodness.
You said we were blowing through it faster than we thought.
We are. Normally we'd have to take a break and skip all questions just because we had one of these things. But I think we can get through it.
All right.
You ready?
Let's do it.
It's going to be like a lightning round. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you are, it looks like the Division has broken some Ubisoft sales records. They haven't talked about which ones.
Good for them.
Yeah, day one. Apparently, it's like up there with Destiny and I think one other thing as like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed as of like new franchise sellers.
Yeah.
Right? That's great. I'm going to talk about the Division a little bit when we come back from our break because I have some things to say about
Why not?
it. Yeah. Well, last week we did some like reviews after
Yeah.
the break, and because we didn't have as many questions, but I haven't finished The Division, so I can give you guys like hot take on The Division. That's the good news for The Division. You want to know what the bad news for The Division is?
What's that?
All right. People. Okay, so here's a multiple choice. Here's a true or false question, John. People are the worst. True or false?
Collectively true.
Okay. Yes, you are correct.
A person is not.
Because, okay, so when you start The Division, your first objective is to go to this safe house to pick up your first missions.
Yes.
Right? Safe houses are a shared zone, which a bunch of people go into. Avatars are not able to pass through each other in The Division.
Yeah, there's no clipping.
So, apparently, people have already started, like, standing in the doorway of the original house and not letting people come through to continue playing the game. Yes. Apparently, there's a Reddit user that was saying there was a person there asking people for the password in order to get in. And it's just like, God damn it. How did you guys not see this coming? How did you not? I mean, I had problems just walking around in the...
Well, what was it? There was like a vendor a bunch of people wanted to go to in like one of the starting areas.
Yep.
And because the only way to get to activate the box for him, you have to be standing in a very specific spot.
Yep.
And if someone's standing there, you basically... So then like there was this like really long line in the game of people just wanting, you know...
Yep. I don't understand. Yep. Well, it was like... So I played the game because we pre-ordered it for the Superhouse Video Game Show.
Yes.
I played it at midnight.
Yeah.
And so I got logged in. There were some server problems. I finally got logged in. I went through that opening area, and the moment that I walked through the doorway to where you're in an area where anybody else was, like 60 other avatars spawned in this room, this tiny room where you're supposed to do like 3 things. And I was just like, ugh. So, yeah, Ubisoft, get your shit sorted out. Nobody wants to have to give people the password to get through some bullshit. This is a very good news, bad news kind of set of news. So last week we did, I'm really hoping to clarify on this. Last week, Microsoft came out and talked about this kind of like upgrading the Xbox One thing.
They had on like last week, Monday or something like that, they had a kind of a press conference where they were talking about different games for both the Xbox and the Windows 10. It was kind of like a pre-E3 kind of thing.
Yeah. But this is still a completely unclear topic.
Yeah, he wasn't. Looking at the title of what you're talking about, he wasn't clear on what he meant.
Yes. He's still not clear about what he meant. Like, I was actually really worried when we talked about this on last week's podcast because I was afraid that people were going to come into the comments and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Here's the thing. And I haven't been reading a lot of the podcast comments for a long time because that's, I get upset. But, I'm glad to see that nobody still has any fucking idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He went on to Major Nelson's podcast to clarify, like, he's not talking about opening up your console and installing new hardware inside of the console. He's like, it's not going to be a thing where you actually open it up and modularly put new things in, which just leaves us with the idea of what?
A 32X
You're going to be bracketing more stuff onto the
Sega
outside?
CD?
Yeah, exactly.
32X?
Yeah. Has that shit ever really worked well? Has it ever been good for the consumer?
No.
I don't know. What do you think about the about a modular console that you can add more processing power onto?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I owned the Sega Genesis, Sega CD, and a Sega 32X at one point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just own a Sega Genesis because that stuff got sold.
Right.
But yeah, like I've done that. It was kind of a pain in the ass. So I don't want a Voltron console. I want just a console by itself that is the console.
Right.
Don't sell me all these parts piecemeal and go, this one is the body, this one forms the head, this one is the right leg, this one's the left leg, and now you have Voltron. You know.
A Voltron console would be pretty cool, though. No, and this is exactly what I said last week, because I hate the idea of them having like a new Xbox One that's more powerful, and that because the games have kind of like a Windows backbone to them, that they can kind of turn up settings on them through updates to the point where your Xbox One console that you bought at launch looks shittier than my Xbox One console that I bought after this hardware refresh goes. I mean, on the other hand, I was talking with Jennifer, and if if they had a thing that I could buy for like my PlayStation that would let me play any PS3 game that I wanted, like $100 USB plug-in add-on,
True.
I would probably do that. But I don't like the idea of upgrading the performance of my console, of having to continue. It's the reason to buy a console and not a PC is because you don't have to play the upgrade game over time.
Yeah.
You don't need a new video card.
I agree with that.
I
was okay with the idea of maybe the modular upgrades where you basically you can send in your console and pay them some money and they'll update the hardware and then they send it back to you. And like
Jesus.
I don't get me wrong. I realize that's a fucking terrible idea.
Right.
But I'm actually somewhat okay with it.
Yeah.
More so than I am of here's a it that didn't work for the Sega Genesis.
No.
If anything, it hurt the Genesis. Hell, that's why the Super Nintendo disc drive, or no, the Nintendo 64 disc drive never came out here in the States.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wasn't the N64 supposed to have some kind of like add-on processor as well?
Well,
like
there was the add-on memory pack that you could that did come out here in the States, but in Japan there was the disc drive, which basically was a base that you plug it on, and then it had like extra cartridges that you could put into it that upped the processing power and everything. Like there was a whole Legend of Zelda, like where it changed the dungeons and added new dungeons to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I remember that.
They've released it later as part of like I think it's on the 3DS version of the game. And
okay,
like there was a version of it that made it harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it never's worked.
Yeah. Well, all I really want to know is apparently like Microsoft has not answered anybody for clarification about what the fuck this is. This is the little snippet that we heard off of this one podcast. Tell us what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Are you going to be send in your Xbox One and $100 and we'll upgrade it? Are you talking about buying a box at Best Buy that you plug into the back that makes it better? Are you talking about there's just going to be new Xbox Ones that are better than your Xbox One, and if you want one, you're just going to need to trade your console in? What in the world are you talking about? We've never faced this. Well, we faced like
sort of with the Xbox 360 towards the end of the console life, we kind of had that problem.
Well, no, there's been modular upgrades before for consoles, but they've always been designed with that in mind.
Yeah,
like the hard drive and network for the PS2, or the Xbox 360 had the place that you should put the hard drive in. Right, there were places where you could do that. Even on the current consoles, you can take the hard drives out and replace them. Right.
Yeah.
But that's always been planned in advance, and I don't know. I mean, somebody who's smarter than me could probably tell me. I don't get the impression that the Xbox One has any, like, it doesn't have an expansion slot, does it? It's just got a bunch of USB ports on it.
It's got 3 USB ports on it.
So,
which, is also a little annoying.
Yeah.
Because I've run out of USB ports on my console already.
Anyway.
I have no USB ports on my Xbox One.
Enough complaining pants about that. I'm going to go ahead and skip over this and just mention it real fast.
Yeah.
Did you see there's new Gears of War cast is out there?
Yeah, apparently
JD Phoenix looks just as
Marcus
douchey.
Phoenix's son.
Yeah, got the douchey Phoenix. Kate Diaz as an outsider, and then Del Walker as...
Wait, is that the actor who's playing him? Is that
I don't know.
Oh, God, what the hell is his name?
I don't know.
Looks familiar.
Eugene Bird?
Yeah, name sounds familiar.
Okay.
Like I know him from something.
Okay. He was in Dead Man, Demon Island, Sleepers, 8 Mile, Lift, and Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid.
Okay. No, then it's not who I thought it was. Never mind.
Okay.
That was just a weird picture.
Okay. He was in Battlefield Hardline, apparently.
Oh, okay. Nice. Good for him.
Anyway. Anyway, you guys should go look it up if you're interested in Gears of War. I mean, there's some deep information about them that kind of points to the storyline. I'm kind of curious to know if Gears of War is going to work without Marcus Phoenix, but whatever. I mean, probably, I guess. I don't know how connected people actually are to that character in the game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, my heart is breaking, John.
I saw this news item, and I was like, oh, no.
My heart is breaking.
Jeff is going to be sad.
Riot Games, the what do they do? League of Legends?
Yeah.
Bought Radiant Entertainment, also known as the group that was making probably my favorite fighting game that I've played in a while.
Rising Thunder.
Which
was in alpha.
Yep. It was an alpha. I actually went and played it just a few weeks ago. This was the kind of the one button special thing that I thought was really fun. So yeah, they got bought by Riot Games. They have another game called Stonehearth that I've never actually played.
Yeah, I don't know. That one apparently is going to continue under Riot Games.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Rising Thunder is closing down on March 18th.
Yeah.
I kind of want to put it on our Sunday stream just to have an excuse to keep playing Rising. Except it's still there's no local 2-player.
Yeah,
it's all just online.
It's all online.
So yeah, like apparently they're working on something new for Riot Games, but dude, fuck that. That game was rad. I really wanted that game to come out.
It's just been a week for announcements like this.
Oh yeah, no, this is the beginning of all of them.
I know. I'm just saying. It's like
this is the bad news section. But yeah, it was funny though because I was looking at this story and I happened across I looked it up and I happened across the same story over on I think it's like Shoryuken.
Yeah.
You should see, or well, I don't know if they were all like this, but I ran across the first comment thread that was like, good, like fuck one button fighting games if they get popular. There's somebody in the comments who basically had this idea that like if Riot Games makes a League of Legends fighting game that's a one button special like Rising Thunder, that the League of Legends fan base, which is huge, will then make that a super popular fighting game, and then other fighting game manufacturers will start to simplify their games to try to keep up with that to apply to appeal to them casual noobs out there.
You know, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. If they did, basically they said, okay, we're closing this alpha down because we're not going to do Rising Thunder.
Right.
Instead, let's take the engine, let's take the idea behind it, and let's transpose that with League of Legends characters.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally play that.
I would play it too.
And I'm sure every League of Legends player would play it, and that would be huge.
Yep. I think it'd be great.
I don't think you'd see Capcom simplifying Street Fighter, or NetherRealm simplifying Mortal Kombat, or even the Killer Instinct guys simplifying Killer Instinct, considering who's making those. But I do think you'd see other games probably like it.
I guess what I don't understand is why you can't have both. Like it seems to me like if you took, I talked about this when we played Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
If you took Street Fighter V and you made a mode on it that was like Rising Thunder, that was one button specials, and then you let all of the fucking noob children like me play over there, right? And then you let the people who are able to do hella good combos all play over here with their hella good combos, then what's the problem? You've got a game that's for people who are super casual to get into just the headspace of doing it.
Yeah.
And you've got a game for people that are very good at the game to have this very upper tier pro competition.
No, I get that.
Living in a world where Heroes of the Storm exists, but so does Dota 2, there's no reason that one of those is going to take over where the others aren't. We still live in a world that has fucking Arma and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, I'm sad. Pour one out for giant robots punching each other. That game was super fucking fun.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's a waste just that the character designs are all gone.
I agree with that completely.
Next up, oh goddamn! All right,
let's
this
go.
is being super long this week. Next up, did you see this bear simulator thing, John?
I was curious if you were going to bring this up because I have not played this game. I know of this game. I remember the Kickstarter.
Yep.
I knew that it came out recently.
Yep.
And then I heard that PewDiePie.
Yeah, let's do the story.
Okay.
You're actually most of the way there. So, Bear Simulator was a Kickstarter game that was just kind of like.
It's Goat Simulator, but with a bear. And maybe
Sort
not,
of.
and I mean it's not exactly Goat Simulator, but it's that same idea. It's here you're playing a bear,
dicking around, and I'm a bear.
Yeah, and let's be silly with it.
Yeah. So he kickstarted. He got $100,000. The game did come out on Steam. It was actually relatively decent as far as reviews go. Like it was mostly positive.
Yeah, like on
78% or something like that. Then PewDiePie did a video where he did not like it.
And when you say did you watch the video at all?
No, I watched a little bit of it, but I'm very sorry, PewDiePie fans, but I have a real hard time actually watching that guy. I feel like he
was kind of a little bit obnoxious about it, like
really?
in a weird way.
Yeah,
like he was just like fuck this game, fuck everything about it. Like at one point, he actually like cut to himself giving a middle finger. To the developers saying "fuck you" for creating this game.
Really,
and it's just really weird. Like he got really angry about it.
I heard that in one of the. I mean, I don't know if this is true because I didn't watch the whole thing, but in one of the comments that he filmed himself getting a refund for it on Steam or something like that. And so that happened, and then this guy was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to finish the what I told the Kickstarter backers that I would have this other area for them. I'm going to finish that area. We're not doing any more work on the updates for this. I'm not even going to. I'm just
we're done. The game's a lost cause.
Yeah, I'm done. Fuck it. Which is really okay. So this, I felt like there was a day that I went kind of down the rabbit hole with both Twitter and comments on this stuff, where it's like, I understand both sides of this so well.
Yeah, you do.
On PewDiePie's side, I can say that, like, if a game is bad, you should be able to go make a video and be like, this game is bad. On the other hand, like, boy, you got to understand how hard it is a lot of times on the internet when you were the target of, especially, like, I can't even imagine what it would be like if PewDiePie's fan base didn't like, say, us, right?
Yeah.
That I would just be getting just shit comments all the time, or, you know, because it's weird, because the guy was obviously had his feelings very hurt, right?
Yeah.
Because his game was, you know, like I said, mostly positive on Steam.
Heck, there were other Let's Players, Steam Train, Markiplier, both of which were like, this is actually kind of a fun game, and let's play it, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like Markiplier had multiple videos, which if he doesn't like a game, he won't do that.
Yep.
And if he doesn't like a game, while he won't outright like say fuck this game, he'll be like, yeah, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But he won't sit there and force himself to play something he doesn't like. And again, like you said, it had mostly positive or very positive reviews.
I mean,
and then
guy got $100,000 on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, dude.
And then PewDiePie came out with this now, and then like if you actually looked at the reviews on the negative reviews that were on Steam, there were quite a few that were actually like legit, like, I didn't like this, blah 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 blah.
Right.
It's not great. But then there were a lot of people like, I watched PewDiePie play this. I bought it so I could leave a review and then got a refund. Fuck this game.
Oh, really?
Like there were people actually saying stuff like that. And apparently the guy was claiming he never named PewDiePie. He never named anybody. He said, I've been getting harassed recently about this game and about the state of this game, and it's getting mostly positive reviews on Steam, but it's this vocal minority that hates it and is harassing me about it, that I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this shit. Fuck it. I'm done.
Like, on the guy's side, what I can say is that it can be really difficult I've had over the years, I've had like a half dozen people over the years that have had a serious problem with me. I've banned a few of them because I just got tired after years of listening to them do that. But that shit can really get to you, especially, like, I know that a lot of people, like, I was reading comments on this story a while back who people were like, well, he just needs to fucking suck it up and do this. And it's like, it's kind of a head fuck when you wake up one day and, like, your entire Twitter feed and Facebook messages and inbox is just full of people giving you shit. You know, like, I can do a number on you. So, I mean, I looked at the videos for Bear Simulator, and I considered having it on Rage Select, but it just, I don't know, it just kind of seemed a little, Like, I'm fucking Goat Simulator for life over here.
Yeah.
Like, but,
well, having said that, from what I've seen of Bear Simulator compared to Goat Simulator, it's nowhere near the level of Goat Simulator.
Right. It's less nutty bananas than Goat Simulator is, right? But I don't know. I think that,
like, I'm not even defending. I want to state that I'm not even defending the game. From what I've also read some things that suggest that it may not be a good game, even if you like it. There were people that left positive reviews that were like, I like this game. I have a lot of fun with it. I think I got my money's worth.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, this is a fucking terrible game, though.
Okay.
You know, I've read reviews that have said that, like, this is not a good game, even by standards of games that are so not good they're good.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, you know, Octodad, or doesn't have the polish of an Octodad, or even Goat Simulator, which doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of polish to it.
No.
Like, it's not even like that level of good. It's just, but it is funny for what it is, or it is fun for what it is.
It's strange because I don't like I don't really sit with either side on this. I kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'd hate to come on here and be like, I think PewDiePie's an asshole for shitting on this, because whatever. On the other hand, that dude does have a lot of power, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I might have Rage Select might have counted for like a 0.00001 uptick in Taco Bell sales over the last 2 years, right? But that guy's got fans that if he could make or break a thing, based on some of his videos, and that's a lot of power. And then you start to get into this question of like, well, I never asked for this, and like, I just want to talk about video games. It's like, but at a certain point, you have to understand the responsibility that you have towards this. Plus, an errant word of yours in one direction could make a bunch of people go shit on
Slide
the
old
guy.
Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's right. Fucking all comes back to Spider-Man, man. So I don't know. I never played. I thought about buying Bear Simulator and just checking it out, just be like, is it? But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, next up, speaking of failures, closures, and other things, guess what else got canceled this week, John? Fable Legends.
And here, okay, I'm going to let you in on a little something, and if I get in trouble for this, I don't care.
Okay.
Hopefully you don't get in trouble for this.
What would I get?
I'm in the closed beta for Fable Legends.
Okay.
The game's really good.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
I am actually upset.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
I am actually legitimately upset about this news.
Really?
Because it has a lot of polish.
Uh-huh.
It is actually a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that it is getting canceled and
Lionhead is getting shut
Yeah.
down, apparently.
presumably or possibly
okay.
being
Okay.
shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like they're very vague on their wording about Lionhead Studios. But I am actually upset with this because I don't talk about this, and I was actually really waiting for it to go into open beta so that we could play it on Super Awesome Video Game Show.
Yeah.
And I've been so upset that we couldn't.
Yeah.
But because they're closing it down, I figure fuck it at this point. I'll say it's good.
Yeah.
Like
well, that's
it was,
weird because
it was way more polished than I was expecting it to
because
be.
the trailers for it made it seem like it could be one of those things that really went either way.
Yeah.
So it could really. So when in the beta that you were playing, were there people playing as like the dungeon master, like the
Yeah.
The
I mean, I never
Overlord or
played as the
whatever?
dungeon master, but yeah.
Okay, but it was fun. You said.
Yeah,
I mean,
I had fun. I liked it. I mean, I didn't spend any money on it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, people could spend money in the closed beta, which they're getting their money refunded if they did,
Right.
Because it's being closed down. But yeah, there was also a part of me that was like, okay, is the NDA lifted? Because I'm gonna ask Jeff if we can play this and at least get a video. And then they're like, no, the NDA is not lifted. I'm like, God damn it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll go put it on.
The most I will say is that I got in it and it was good.
What we'll do is we'll just slip it in on Joe is setting up a competing site called normalchoice.com. Maybe we can put it over on normalchoice.com.
Normal choice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I don't know. It's funny because I never got a chance to play Fable Legends, and I know that I've talked some shit about it. I'm kind of curious as to why. If it's just that they projected that they weren't going to make any money off of it.
I don't know, and that's
because,
what's weird to me about it.
Like the last Fable game was what, the horse Connect game?
Yeah.
Where you rode on magical spells, something. So I don't know. I mean, it never looked like. I mean, it always.
Okay. When I say it was good, let me also say that it's not like the best game ever, but
Yeah.
I actually, for what it was, I actually really enjoyed it.
Right. Okay.
And it really caught me off guard when I read this news.
Well, boo, Microsoft, boo. Also, tell me what you mean about that modular Xbox bullshit. So you have until April 13th to play. Maybe we can record a video at some point, and then we can see about. We'll just wait for the hubbub to die down, or I don't know, whatever. Did you know that last week when I put up what the hell was it? The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD videos that we put up?
Yeah.
I shit you not. Every one of those videos got like 10 individual copyright claims per video from Nintendo. And I'm just sitting back like, Nintendo, you've already got the money, man. You've already claimed my video and taken all the money from it. You don't need to keep claiming. It was like claiming individual sections of the video, and it was always Nintendo over and over again. This Content ID shit is horrible. Anyway, also, sorry, not to talk too much about my own troubles, but apparently the Press Play, the guys who made Max and the Curse of the Brotherhood, are also getting shut down.
They are getting shut down. Yeah.
Yep. They are definitely getting shut down.
Yeah,
We're
they
still
said that
up
they're
in the air about Lionhead.
Yeah, they said that they're going to be in discussions with Lionhead employees on the possibility of shutting down the studio.
Yeah, I was reading a thing where apparently like it's different in London where they're located. It's different in Britain.
Yeah.
About you. It's not like Texas where you could just be like, it's all gone, go home. You've got to like give people a certain amount of time and some other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, one more bummer story, but this is a bummer that every single person in the world should have seen coming. Apparently, that Metal Gear Solid HD fan remake thing, Shadow Moses, that was being made in, like, what was it, Unreal 4?
Yeah.
There was no way Konami was ever going to let that shit go through.
They should have kept that shit quiet until they were done with it.
Yep, and then they should have put it on torrent sites
and not actually like made it a big announcement. About
in fact, they should have called it something besides Shadow Moses, and they never should have shown anybody anything.
Yeah.
So
or shit, just rename all the characters and call it something else and leave it the same game.
Yeah, you still would have had to use all the audio from original Metal Gear. So, but yeah, I it's sad, but because that's one of the few games out there that has never had an HD remake that I really would like. But whatever. All right, let's get some good news.
I'm ready for some good news.
Ready for some good news. Sniper Elite 4 is a thing. And there's a teaser trailer for it.
Oh, we're going to get more adventures of the Butt Sniper?
The Butt Sniper is back. This had already been outed by a LinkedIn, like a news or a job posting of somebody who was like, "Oh, I also worked on Sniper Elite 4."
I see, environments.
Yep.
In the trailer.
This is a teaser. There is no. You don't even get to see the Butt Sniper. It's just a bunch of Nazi hat shadows and tanks in Italy in 1943. And then at the very end, I think you hear just the of sniper rifle. So looks good. I've enjoyed all of the Sniper Elite games.
I'm going to be honest. I've never played one.
Yep.
Yeah, never
they're
played
real
one.
fun. Nazi Zombie Army 1, 2, and 3, all real fun. I really like the Sniper Elite games. The first one is very, very strange, very different than the later ones. Much more kind of technical. So, yep. Apparently, it's going to be out on current gen consoles and PCs this year. So, huzzah! The Butt Sniper. Number 2, there's a brand new hot Doom multiplayer trailer.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Have you watched this trailer?
I have not actually watched this trailer, but I know of it.
Oh, it's good.
And I also know the other announcement that came along with it.
Yep. We'll get to that in just a second. So this trailer is just, wow, is it ever like just brutal and violent and fast? And it's a bunch of, I don't remember there being as much color in the Marines last time that I saw this, or in the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was in the characters, but I was in a closed beta for it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So here's the thing. I hadn't seen any of the other monsters.
Oh, yeah?
This trailer has like this giant, kind of looks like a baby
I didn't know
parademon or whatever.
any of that stuff.
Yep. And then apparently you've also got the fat demon, and then there's like a fast demon. Yep. Looks real fun. I got this like melee execution of this giant demon. Looks great.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep. This Doom is shaping up, man.
Yeah.
Looks good. It looks so violent, and I just can't wait. And
Plays pretty good too.
Yep. You want to tell people the other news?
Oh, the closed beta for people who bought Wolfenstein.
Yep.
Is coming up.
Yep.
As well.
It is happening on, what is it? Starting on March 31st.
Yes.
Yep. So you can bet your bananas that we are going to be looking at that. Also, I know that you were talking about this last week, but they were voting on an alternate cover for Doom because everybody was pissy about the
generic fuck all of the actual cover.
Yep, and they got this one that's like, it's kind of an homage to the original,
Doom box art. Yeah, I really like that one.
All right, and then speaking of betas and cool stuff, we've got confirmation the Overwatch beta is coming in May.
Yeah.
May, let's see, so how does this work? If you pre-order the game, you'll actually get to start playing it early on May 3rd and 4th. May 5th through 9th, everyone will be able to play free during an open beta, and then the release is on, when is the actual release of this? Beep, 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 beep. May 24th.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like later in the month.
Yep. Well, May 24th.
Yeah. Well, yeah, May. Not this month, May. Later in the month of May, like after the beta.
Yeah, but there was a new trailer that came out with this. Overwatch remains a real fun looking video game.
Yeah, it looks a lot of fun. Like I like the more I see of it, I know what it is, and it's like it shouldn't appeal to me, but I kind of want to play it.
I mean, the characters, like that's one of the things that I feel like is just the world, the current gaming world that we live in, and I think that MOBAs are really responsible for this. I feel like we're just getting all of this super good character design all the time.
Yeah.
Especially because the MOBAs, they have to be able to differentiate between the different characters, like at a distance. And
then you add in Blizzard's tenacity for creativity and just having fun with it lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
all this looks great. I really I haven't yet played any Overwatch. Like
Neither have I.
I'd really like to get a chance to take a look at it because it looks like super fun. And actually, the more I look at it, the more it reminds me of like there should probably be a Team Fortress 3 by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks
And
real
if
good.
I remember correctly, they said that leading up to the game, not in this announcement or anything like that, but if I remember correctly, they said that leading up to this game, they're going to have like a bunch of animated shorts.
Oh, really?
That are going to be more character focused.
Oh, that'd be so good. That'd be so good
little,
because that
like-
first one was really good.
Yeah, like they're going to be doing like a bunch of those leading up to the game.
Damn, man.
Kind of like the Team Fortress videos.
Oh, like the Meet the Team?
Yeah, like
those still remain some of my favorite video game videos.
I think they're going
of
to do
all
those
time.
kind of things with this game. Like they're going to start doing those kind of videos
Okay.
regularly.
Got a few more, and then we're going to be done here. Alex is coming to Street Fighter V in the
Yeah.
March update.
Which they still haven't announced when the March update's coming out.
Yep. It is March. It is March 10th as of this recording.
It's going to be March 31st.
Probably
going to
be March 31st. Yep. You're apparently, though, as they said before, you're going to be able to buy Alex with your battle coins.
They
or
actually
whatever.
say if you
Fight
actually
money.
complete all of the story mode stuff that's in the game,
Yeah.
you can afford him as a free character.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah, so that they're like, yeah. The only thing is that once his characters come out and you've bought that, it's not easy to get that much coin again after that.
Oh, okay. There's also been some. I mean, they haven't talked about anything specific, but apparently they're still trying to get the rage quitting under control.
Yeah.
Which seems like a thing that Capcom should have known was going to happen before they put out Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of always been a problem.
not to just be the shitting on Capcom podcast hour, but like really should have been one of those things that they knew about.
And they're
before
also
it came
trying to
out.
figure out how to differentiate between rage quitting and someone whose just internet connection cuts out.
Right. No, it's a good question. Apparently, there is virtually no information about the new Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah.
But apparently, in an interview, who is this? Let's see. E.G. Aonuma. I'm sorry, I've probably totally butchered that. Apparently, he was talking to Famitsu, and he had a comment that, when translated, says, "This time, the change in flavor will be like going from Japanese food to Western-style food."
Huh.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Like, so it's the new Link is fat, or like it's got a lot of salt and like Cheeto dust on
No,
him?
I
or?
think it's just talking about the difference in the way the game plays. Probably it's going to feel less like a Japanese made game and more like a Western made game.
What do you think? Do you think that's a good thing?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be.
have to see how it plays.
Yeah, I mean, I need to see. I mean, everything I've seen of it so far looks great, but I would need to play more of it.
Okay. All right. So, hey, you know how we had that story about the Metal Gear thing?
Yeah.
There was a video that, you know, those guys that are trying to remake Knights of the Old Republic in the Unreal Engine 4. They put out, they handed this Maddie Plays YouTube channel, like a build to look through of different environments that they've created in the game, of Anchorhead, and then I believe it's the ship at the very beginning of the game, and the lower reaches of the city. In one of the things, I watched a little bit of this. I think it looks okay. Again, I don't see how the fuck these guys are. I mean, it's like as assholey as Konami is. Disney owns the rights to Star Wars, man. They're just gonna let you put out your own Star Wars game.
They're going to shut that down.
I mean, like, I don't understand how you think that you're going to be able to continue with this. Maybe somebody in the comments can explain to me how the fuck they think that they're going to be able to. Because, I mean, this looks real good, and I would love a Knights of the Old Republic remake with all super high-res textures and stuff. It's a great game. But I don't see how the hell you're going to put out a fan-made Star Wars game. Like, I just don't.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. And last but certainly not least, John, I picked this one out special for you.
Hey,
it's a release
one for me.
date for Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, May 17th.
Sweet.
Coming out on the PS4. And then they have this. It's funny. They have a trailer here that is roughly a minute, roughly 90 seconds long. That basically tells you a whole bunch of shit that anybody who's already played Valkyria Chronicles already knows.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can command your units, and there's 4 different kinds of them, and there's tanks, and blah, 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 blah.
If anyone has not played this game,
Yep.
Go find the Super Awesome Video Game Show 2-parter, I think.
Yeah, John
where
and
we
I
played this game.
both like to just go totally up into this game's butthole.
So to see how awesome it is,
Yes.
and then buy this game when it comes out.
Sure. I mean, the PC version's already out.
Yeah.
You get it on the PS3, but if you're looking for a very unique tactical RPG for the PS4, give it a shot.
I like tactical RPGs.
Yep. And with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to maybe answer a few questions and maybe talk a little bit about the Division. So stay tuned. Mail at RageSelect.com is the email address. We'll be back momentarily. And we're back.
Yes.
You ready, John?
Yes.
All right. So we're trying a little something different before we jump into the questions.
Okay.
Just some quick. Last week we did a couple of quick reviews.
Yeah?
And I don't have anything
Did
specifically.
they go over really well?
What's that?
Did they go over really well?
I don't know.
Did people tell you how wrong you are?
I didn't. Like I said, I've kind of been a little bit more. I've decided to give myself a little bit of a break from the comments, and in general, I found myself to be a lot happier.
All right. Well, there you go.
Because last week I was looking at one of our videos and I looked at one comment and I got really upset until I realized the person was agreeing with me, and I'm like, my attitude towards internet comments is not very healthy. Anyway, I don't have a full game to review this week because I'm still right in the middle of the Division, but I thought that I would talk a little bit about the Division. I'm probably about 12 hours in, and I don't know, man. You and I were talking about this before we started.
Yeah.
It's really repetitive. It's like it seems to me like I'm just doing the exact same things over and over and over again. Like there's 4 or 5 different types of enemies that I've run into so far. Anyway, I'll tell you what. Let's do this a little bit more like our old reviews, right? So, for those of you who don't know, the Division is basically about a plague that it happens on Black Friday, where money has been tainted with this virus that kills off a bunch of people. And a few of it's released in New York, and then Manhattan and Brooklyn, and I think those are the only 2 islands, right?
Sounds about right.
Are shut down. And in a thing that becomes more horrifying every time that I think about it, these agents called the Division are activated, which are basically just civilians that are part of the Division that are they're activated, and they're all like paramilitary people, and they're basically sent in to try to regain order because apparently the city has been taken over by street gangs who now all have machine guns. And now actually it's strange because I just hit a story mission in the game that seems to indicate that these gangs might actually be being led by another organization. So there might be something interesting going on in the back half of the game as far as the story missions go that I don't really know yet. But at its heart, this is a third-person shooter, kind of an MMO, kind of an instanced MMO. So it's like when I'm running around, you don't have the entire server running around with you.
Yeah.
Generally, I can see icons for my friends, but I've never run into them except when they actually group with me. So I don't think that they're not killing off this mission. When I need to go do a mission, the mission exists only for me, right?
Yeah.
In some of the common areas, you can see a bunch of other people. Some of the safe houses, you'll see other people wandering around. So it is online. You can't play it with friends. I played it with a few Rage Select fans a few times. But it's a third-person, cover-based modern military shooter. You have submachine guns, pistols, heavy machine guns, assault rifles, sniper rifles. I haven't seen anything like a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher or anything like that. So it feels like the upper end of the damage spectrum tends to be either like a heavy machine gun or a sniper rifle.
I can understand that.
And they've got they've all got their own pros and cons. You can have 2 primary weapons and a sidearm. And then it's got a leveling system that unlocks stuff over time. In addition to that, you also have 2 slots that are mapped to the L1 and R1 buttons where you can activate powers. And you can have 2 of those powers at a time. So you'll have things like, you have med kits, but you can use one of them to heal yourself. Or you can drop a homing grenade that'll home in on enemies and blow up. Or you can deploy a turret. There's a bunch of different things. And then each one of those has a bunch of mods that are tied to this base that you have. You saw this in the beta, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Individual missions will rack you up points that you can put into either the medical, the tech sector, or the security sector. And as you do those upgrades, you get not only new powers and not only modded powers. So there's to give an example, I use the turret a lot. It's like a little turret that you just throw down, and then the turret shoots until it's either blown up by an enemy or it runs out of juice and it just explodes, right?
Yeah.
The modded turrets will do things like you can get one that has a shorter range, but it sets people on fire. You get one that shoots electric bullets from time to time. Or the one that I use where whenever the turret targets somebody, it like paints them on your map so that you can see them even if they're behind cover or whatever.
Okay.
It also gives you, I believe, a bit of a damage bonus. So as you do, there's a few different types of missions in the game. There's story missions, there's side missions, and there's missions you could just do to get the money or the currency that you need to upgrade these 3 different areas. And then those areas will give you stuff like crafting materials, which you can craft your own armor and weapons, and that's all randomized, so you can just like try to trade in a certain amount of these materials and get a better gun than what you have. You can also break it down. It's got actually a pretty deep system for crafting because there's a table that you unlock, like the Diablo table, where you can pick like one of the attributes of your thing and then re-roll it randomly for another one, which helps because there's a bunch of them that have like specific buffs for those powers, right? So you'll have one that gives your like your grenades a higher blast radius or something like that.
Okay.
There's also then talents and perks, which you have 5 talent slots that unlock, and those seem to be like upper tier things. Like the unlocks of those slots tend to happen as you get way higher in level, where you can actually put things in. Like I have one right now where every time you get a kill, it extends the life of any of the things that you've deployed, right?
Yeah.
So every time my turret kills somebody, it gets more life. Which is really useful. And then you have a bunch of passive, I believe those are the perks, passive perks that basically do different things that you get after unlocking all those. Anyway, that's the base of the game. The meat of the game is just a third-person cover-based shooter. And it's okay. I feel like I've hit a point, though, where it's starting to get a little rote, a little by the numbers. Because you have these story missions, but the story missions are gated by difficulty. So you have a bunch of these story missions, and they're like, you need to be level 25 to do this. So if you're level 14, you're just going to get destroyed because all the enemies in there are too high level. The story missions so far have been the most interesting part of the game. The problem comes in the fact that if you just do the story missions, you have to do the side missions in order to, one, open up those... Yeah. Not so much grinding because there aren't like there's some random encounters that you'll run into on the streets of just like a couple of enemies, but you'll have to do these other side missions to boost because every burrow has like a suggested level, and then when you go to that burrow you unlock a safe house. The safe house gives you a bunch of missions, and then when those missions are done, as near as I can tell, once you've done all the missions in an area, they don't ever pop more missions. So you just need to move on to the next area that is of your level. Like that, like I have the first probably quarter to a third of the map like just cleared of all missions. So as you level up, you keep moving on to the further areas. And the main issue that I'm having is just that the missions themselves are very repetitive. The non-story based missions, there's not a lot of stakes in them. It's just like, okay, these gang guys they've captured a bunch of medical stuff, so you got to roll up, you got to kill all of them, then you've got to wait for 2 minutes while waves of them come at you until reinforcements get there, and then you win the mission. I've done that mission like a dozen to 24 times, and the first time it was okay, but every time I do it, it seems more like work and less fun. You know, like the best way to describe this game, in my opinion, is like Destiny, and that like. You know how in Destiny it's like you just do the exact same thing. You go to this place, you put Peter Dinklage bot down, then you defend him, and then you're done.
Yeah.
There's a ton of missions in the game that are like that. And it sucks because there's actually, the story missions are hitting a place that I find really fascinating, like this turn in the story that maybe happens about 50% of the way through, that I'm like, this seems cool. Like there's even a new enemy type in my last mission where I was just like, oh shit, this guy's like, I know how to handle all of the different enemy types.
Yeah.
And this guy's a different enemy type. But it just takes so goddamn long. It's really kind of a grindy bummer.
Well, I mean, I would assume that, like Destiny, they're in this for the long haul, so they don't want you to run through all the content within like a day or a week.
Right.
You know, they want you to be playing this game for months at a time.
Yep.
So that when they do get ready to release updates or DLC or expansions or whatever, that you've been playing it. You're still playing the game.
Sure. The problem is that I'm really running up against that wall that a lot of RPGs and a lot of MMOs have, where I just don't care as much about the individual things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because the busy work is just, it's so blatantly busy work, and the enemy types are so repetitive that, I mean, you know, like at least in like like WoW, for example, right?
Yeah.
You'll go to a different area that looks significantly different, that has different enemy types in it, that do different types of damage or attacks to you. So far here, it's so similar, the types of enemies that you're fighting. You know, there's melee guys that'll run up at you. There's snipers. There's grenade guys, and there's kind of your standard machine gun guys. And so far, that's kind of been it. Like, it would have been interesting if I'd have gone into, for example, it would have been interesting if I went into a burrow where everybody there, like this place was focused mostly on melee type enemies, right? So that you had to adjust your tactics. That would have given me a great reason to switch over to like maybe a shotgun and a submachine gun, because I've been just rolling with a assault rifle, sniper rifle, because it's really easy, you know. But if I had to deal with enemies that were getting close constantly, I would maybe switch up the types of abilities that I was using, the types of weapons that I was using in order to compensate for a different area. Or let's say you went into an area that was mostly just sharpshooters, where it was mostly sharpshooters that were covered by like flamethrower guys that didn't rush you, that stayed away from you, so that you had to take the initiative to figure out a way to get closer to them. That type of change to the tactics that you were applying would keep those encounters fresh and interesting, as opposed to what they are now, which just seems like I said the exact same thing over and over and over and over again. So I really enjoyed it when I first started playing it, but after like 3 days worth of just like big 8 to 10 hour stints with it, I'm just starting to get a little bit tired of it. So I'm going to stick with it, and I'll let you guys know. I haven't gone into the dark zone yet because I'm just not as interested in PvP, and all of the equipment that I have is just fine for PvE. Like, it's, I know that you can get better equipment if you go to the dark zone, but I'm just not really entirely interested in doing that just yet. The other thing about it is, of course, like I was talking about with WoW, the environments in the game are all very much the exact same thing. Like, it's all just the streets of New York. So it's these streets, they've got boxes and cars and shit that you can hide behind in them. But there hasn't so far been a huge... Now, I'm kind of... The way that the game is laid out is it's like a giant oval map, and right in the middle is the dark zone, and I've done everything on one side, so I'm kind of like going down the bottom of this U and kind of getting ready to go up the other side of the island to hit all of the higher level stuff that's over there. So maybe there is other stuff over there, but so far that's another thing that, while the game looks pretty decent, the PS4 version, which is what I'm playing, has a fair amount of weird texture pop in, where you're looking at like say the banners on a museum and you can't read them, and then finally they cut back in.
Oh, okay.
You know, they cut up to high res. It looks decent. It's just it's starting to lose my interest. And unlike, say, Far Cry Primal, where that started to lose my interest about 2/3 of the way through, but I was able to just push to the end of it, and looking at the map, it seems like I'm only about halfway through this. And while I understand that they want to have, you know, a 20 to 40 hour experience, it has to be engaging for all 20 to 40 hours, or else I'm just going to fucking stop playing it. Like, Hitman came out today, or it's coming out at midnight as the day that we're recording this.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to need something to keep me playing this and not go play Hitman, because Hitman seems like the exact thing that I was asking for, which is a bunch of different scenarios with different ways of solving it. You know, you want to go stealth, you want to just balls in, do you want to try to do this thing? Like, the Hitman seems like it's got a lot more replay value and a lot of things to keep the experience fresh over time, at least from what we played in the beta, right?
Yeah.
Than the Division does. So I don't know. This might just end up being another... Like, I feel like Ubisoft right now is just that the last 3 or 4 of their games that I played have been very just like middle of the road, 3 stars out of 5 kind of, you know, not bad games, but like Assassin's Creed Syndicate had the same problem. Far Cry had the same problem, where even Watch Dogs had the same problem, where you get about halfway through that game and you've kind of seen everything, and so now it's just, you know... I haven't even talked about the fact that the city is just littered with all of these little echoes, like these little... You remember that in the beta where you saw like the outlines of people looking at the past, and you could see kind of a thing that happened in the past, or there's like these little flavor where you pick up a cell phone and it'll you know, you replayed the conversation on the cell phone that somebody had, and that stuff's interesting, but there's just like a shit ton of it, and it's not always in a good place that's easy to find, so a lot of times I've just ended up skipping it. So I don't know. I'm getting the impression that it might not end up holding a lot of people's interest.
Okay.
So,
Well,
do you want to talk any about Project Cross Zone? I know you've been playing
Project Cross Zone 2. I'm over 50. I'm almost 60 hours into it.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
It's a 3DS game. It's a sequel to the game Project Cross Zone, which itself was a sequel to the only in Japan PlayStation 2 exclusive Namco Cross Capcom. So Namco Cross Capcom was a tactical RPG on the PS2 that was only released in Japan.
Right.
It, as the name implies, was Namco characters and Capcom characters.
Okay.
And so, but it was done as a tactical RPG, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I played it, like a friend of mine imported it, and I played his copy of it, and I couldn't understand what was going on because it's all in Japanese, but it's fucking awesome. I really enjoyed the game.
Okay.
I like the way it did it. And so they released on the 3DS Project Cross Zone, which was a sequel that also included Sega.
Okay.
So that was great. If I had one complaint with it is that it a little too long, a little bit too repetitive, but it was great. They announced Project Cross Zone 2, which it's still Namco, Capcom, and Sega, now with some guest Nintendo characters.
Okay.
There's a character from Xenoblade Chronicles, or Xenoblade X, or whatever the fuck it's called, Chronicles X?
Xenoblade Chronicles,
yeah. There's a character from that, and then there's two characters from Fire Emblem Fates.
Okay.
Crom and Lucille.
Okay.
If you've played those games, but yeah, it's more of the same game. In all honesty, if you played Project Cross Zone 1, this is the same game. Mind you, they have there are some new characters. There's they changed even from where they have the same characters from a game.
Yeah.
They changed the way the characters work, because the way it is that all the characters are teams.
Right.
So it's teams of 2, and then there's a third character. There's teams of 3. There's 2 characters that are permanently together, and a third character that you can switch out.
Okay.
So it starts off by going, oh, well, these 3 characters are from this game, so the idea is to put them together, and you can see they're in dialogue. But it also gets kind of fun to put those characters with other games from other franchises, because then they'll have specialized dialogue that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Cool.
Like putting Hayachi with Ryu and Ken.
Yeah.
And the conversation that goes on with that. The character from Space Channel 5.
Ooh La La?
Yeah, Ooh La La is in it. And it
is that the ninja from
Shinobi. It has both the ninjas, couple ninjas from Shinobi.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's got Strider. It's got characters from Yakuza, Dark Lost Souls, or whatever, Demon Souls, or Dark whatever, Yakuza Dead Souls.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yakuza Dead Souls, I think
John
it
was saying Dark Souls.
Yeah, I always, because of you, I can never remember that exact Yakuza title.
Yeah.
It also has, as a special, Sagata Shinshiro, which was the mascot for the Sega Saturn. You must play the Sega Saturn.
Okay.
If you don't know who that is, go look that up on YouTube. The fucking craziest Japanese commercials ever.
Okay.
They're awesome. And you're fighting a bunch of villains from all of these game franchises. They have some original characters that are only from this game. Like the 2 main characters have been in all these 3 games, and then there's also some original characters as well.
How are the actual RPG fighting elements of it?
It's a tactical RPG. It's literally you're placed on a map and you have to move your characters on a grid, and you're fighting other characters. The one thing I do like about it is that instead of your typical RPG where it's like, oh, you select attack and you choose to do this attack, and then it attacks and your move is over and it moves to their move.
Right.
Instead of doing that, it's you do an attack and then it takes you to a fight screen.
Uh-huh.
And you basically have button combinations that you can do, like A by itself does one specific move. A in the left diagonal, or the left on the D-pad, is another button.
Okay.
And you get to choose what order you do those in, and you get to choose how they're done.
Okay.
So there's a little bit you want to pay attention to the fight kind of thing. Like there's no way to automate it.
Right.
But it's like like I said, you mix and match characters, and if you really want to know what these games are, they are fan service the game.
Okay.
If you are a fan of any of these franchises that are in this game, then you're going to have enjoyment with this, because it is nothing but pure, unadulterated fan service.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, It's fun though. Like I said, I like it. I think it's well worth the price if you're a fan of tactical RPGs. It is easy.
Okay.
Like I like that is one thing I will say. I've never really had trouble with it. So and it is really long. Like I think 60 hours in, I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, okay, it's just the same. It's just the same mission over and over again. Essentially,
right?
It's your characters go to an area, a boss shows up and brings in a bunch of cronies.
Right.
You start fighting him. After you kill off a certain number of cronies, another boss shows up with a bunch more cronies, and then maybe a third boss shows up with some more cronies.
Okay,
kind of thing.
So it's $40.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's 40.
That's what it said on
it's $40.
Okay.
But I mean, like I said, it's got
Resident Evil,
Resident Evil, Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of characters, a lot of it's a Virtual Fighter, Tekken. Street Fighter, Darkstalkers.
It's a mix between 3D and kind of like the characters are like pixel art.
Well, yeah, the characters are all like sprite based, and then all the environments are 3D.
Okay.
But it's like I said, I like it. It's a lot of fun. There's, it's. Oh yeah, the fucking what is it? What is that? Shinmu, the character from Shinmu's in the game.
Oh, okay.
This is the first one he's been in. So I mean, like. I do feel like I enjoyed the first Project Cross Zone a little bit more.
Okay. Is it just because of the kind of like, oh my god, this is fucking nuts?
It's because this is more of the same, and also I just feel like they did more.
Okay.
Like here, it just feels like, well, this thing is happening again. Let's meet all the characters. Okay, let's just, and then the characters run around not really knowing what's going on.
Okay.
I will say there's these moments where they do like these little like special moves, like super special moves, where the characters have like this almost animated, really super detailed animated cutscene that I really enjoy.
Okay.
That I think
kind of like a limit break type of thing.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
Okay.
I really like, you're looking at them right there, like kind of like that, where they're small. And they're not very long, but they're a lot of fun to do. And I like the game. Like I wouldn't. It's not for everybody. It's some people might even like. I know some people who like tactical RPGs are like, no, that game's too easy. And
so not for your hardcore.
Yeah.
Like I only play Final Fantasy Tactics because of how hard it is.
This is really if you want some little crazy, kind of weird, kind of humorous, or not kind of humorous, very meant to be humorous, tongue-in-cheek, fan service, wanky, thing.
Okay.
And that's what I like about it. That's the charm of it. I mean, it's one of those things where I can actually pick it up. I can play it, like I play it on my lunch break, or play it on like on a 15-minute break at work, and then I put it down and I walk away from it, and then like when I'm bored waiting to do something, like I can't watch a TV show or I can't play a video game, like an actual console game or something, I'll bust out my 3DS and start playing it. And it's got a lot of characters, a lot of games that are crossed over in it, and it's fun not only to see the characters interact in this new way, but also it's fun to see them interact with other characters.
Okay.
And just like I forget what it was. Like, well, in Project Cross Zone 1, they had a character that is essentially was John McClane from Die Hard. Which the thing was, but it was called Bruno the Dynamite Detective.
Oh, okay.
Because in Japan, I think Sega had the rights to a Die Hard game that was released here in Japan or here in the U.S.
Oh, the arcade game?
Yeah, the arcade game.
Okay.
But when they brought it to Japan, they lost the rights.
Oh, okay.
So they changed the name of the character to Bruno the Dynamite Detective.
Okay.
And then they made a sequel, if I'm not mistaken. In Project Cross Zone 1, he's a character. So essentially, I'm playing this game with Mega Man and John McClane, and the first one didn't have Phoenix Wright. This is the first one he's in.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like so crazy stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's just like, and they have fun with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't really give it a score because I like it because it's very fan service and it's referencing a lot of games that I love, but
don't bother with score. Score is
but I mean, but it's a but the biggest, I think the biggest thing, and I think it's a good complaint to have, is it's a lot of game. I've played over 60 hours and I think I'm near the end.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'm at the end.
So it's a traditional JRPG length JRPG.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
My only hope is that I hope that Project Cross Zone 1, I mean, obviously it did well enough that they did a sequel.
Yeah.
I really wish that they would re-release the original Namco Cross or Bandai or Namco Cross Capcom here in the States.
Oh, okay.
Like, I wish they would release that translated, because like I would love to actually replay that first game.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of characters that were in that first game that are not in either Project Cross Zone or Project Cross Zone 2.
Okay.
Like, that's how many characters they deal with, and across all three of these games is that there are characters that only appear in one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and throw down on some questions.
yeah.
Our first question comes in from Swedish Latino, who says, Hola, Jeff and John. I have an interest in buying Far Cry Primal. I really love the series. I do see a problem with Primal, and it's kind of a big one. It's that the game has a fully subtitled story, and I have dyslexia. This means that I can't read subtitles. I get about halfway through the text, and then it's gone. So my question is this. Do you think I will be able to enjoy Far Cry Primal even if I miss about 50% of the story because of my inability to read subtitles? Thanks for reading my email. Sorry if it's a bit on the long side, and sorry for eventual spelling errors. Keep in mind, English is my third language, and the thing about the dyslexia. Swedish Latino. No, Swedish Latino, you did fine there.
You're fine.
It's fine. I don't know. You've played a little bit of this. Like, so here's the thing. Okay. I feel like the story is like the least important thing in Far Cry Primal.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to know the story that's going on in the context of a lot of it, yeah, you're gonna miss a lot.
I almost feel though, like,
if you need to know just like what you have to do, like mission wise,
yeah,
that's all displayed like on the screen.
Yeah,
like,
it's going to tell you, where you're going to go. You're just going to go to a place and kill everybody there, or take over a thing. I also feel like because it's a caveman game, that the concepts are simple. They're not, they're not like really super complicated things.
And I'll even say, like, on missions where you're supposed to follow, like, for example, the first mission you play in the game, the tutorial level or whatever you want to call it,
right.
The character that's talking to you, not only is he talking to you, but he's motioning body language to you as well. So it's like, even if it's like you're not reading the subtitles, you get a good idea of what they're telling you because of body language.
I think that you could do it. I mean, I think you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit, but you could always do something like, if you could find somebody who did a full playthrough on YouTube, you could always go to those places, pause so that you can read all the subtitles on those YouTube videos, one beat at a time. But I don't know. I mean, it's a really simplistic game.
It is.
There's some nuance in the characters that you're probably going to miss about, a couple of the characters have like beef with certain other factions. But even that is so, I don't know, it's so basic that I don't know. I think you'd probably be able to get something out of it. I mean, the meat of the game is in just playing the game, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a Pagan Man or a Voss or any of that kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
right?
there's no central villain that is charismatic that you want to see more of or want to interact with more of. It's just there are villains, but they're just not like you said, like they're not a Pagan Man or a Voss.
Yeah, they're not very complicated in their overall motivations, shall we say. So, yeah, I don't know. Give it a shot. If you do, let us know how it turns out. All right, next up, Tony has an interesting question that kind of ties into the Ghostbusters trailer from last week.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't get to talk about that because I wasn't on the podcast.
Yep. It says, Dear Jeff and John, with the ongoing debates and arguments about the new Ghostbusters film, which you touched on in the last podcast, I wanted to ask about your thoughts on the state of comedies today versus the 80s. Complaint I've repeatedly heard is that the current standards in comedy are inferior to the style of comedy that was prevalent in the late 70s and 80s. To use the existing debate as an example, the pre-Ghostbusters films of the new crew, the pre-Ghostbusters films of the new crew, Bridesmaids, The Heat, and Spy, though successful, pale in comparison to the pre-Ghostbusters films of the original, Blues Brothers, Animal House, Caddyshack, etc. There was also a recent survey on the top 100 comedies of all time as voted by filmmakers, critics, and journalists. The 80s made up the majority of the list at 30%, with the last 15 years making up less than 20% of the list. Looking back, do you think there's any weight to the argument that things in comedy just aren't as good as they used to be? Thanks for reading, Tony. So I think this is a really interesting question because I started thinking about it, and I started to wonder if you asked my dad if comedies if comedy is a product of your formative time, right?
Yeah.
Like whether the things that you find the most funny are things that you were exposed to at specific points during your lifetime. Like, I wonder if here's the question. I wonder if a young person today, right, would watch pick a modern comedy that's really popular, something that's come out in the last few years.
Well, now you've made me Neighbors.
Okay. Would watch that and be more entertained with that than they would with something like Airplane, because Airplane has a bunch of like references that they don't have any context for, and the maybe just the slapsticky weird non sequitur nature doesn't appeal to them.
Well, I mean, you got to, if you're going to make that comparison, I think it'd be more Airplane compared to, like, I don't know, Scary Movie.
Okay.
Whereas, like, if like I said, Neighbors to Meet the Burbs.
Okay.
Or The Burbs, not Meet the Burbs, but just The Burbs.
I mean, because I'm going to tell you right now that there's a bunch of movies that people find hilarious that I think are horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I find a lot of Will Ferrell's catalog to just be like, I don't care for it. I think I know a lot of people who really, really like Talladega Nights. I fucking hate that movie.
I think it's fun, but I mean,
comedy is like the most.
It's also one of those. Yeah, you are right. Comedy is
subjective.
Like, there's like, I don't really care for Borat or for
Me neither.
Ali G or any of
Bruno or whatever.
I don't care for any of those movies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Or I remember when Wedding Crashers came out, and everybody was just like so into Wedding Crashers, and I was like, I just thought these guys were kind of douche holes.
Yeah,
like.
I mean, I thought it was an okay movie. Like, I didn't hate it, but it was just So I mean, it's one of those things that it is. You're right. You're 100% right. It's comedy is subjective, and it does it change depending on what's popular at the time? Sure. I mean, I don't.
I think so.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because I don't know. Like,
I wouldn't say that comedies now are inferior to comedy in the 80s. I just think it's also comedy has changed and evolved as well.
Well, I also think that, I mean, like, I'm taking it right now. One of the most entertaining and in a lot of ways funny things that I've seen in the last few years that John definitely knows about is the Max Landis's Wrestling Isn't Wrestling video on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've seen some shtick on YouTube that is better, that's made me laugh more than mediocre. Because the other thing you have to remember, of course, is the fact that there have been a lot of comedy movies, and there have been a lot of them that were largely forgettable or that just don't rank up there. Like, I'm sure that somebody will get upset with me for saying this, but like, I've seen Uncle Buck a few times. It's got some charming moments, but I would never go back and watch it. Like, I would never put it on as a thing. One
of my favorite John Candy movies is a movie called Delirious.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Delirious. It literally is my favorite John Candy movie.
Yeah.
No, like, I know people who have heard that and actually like, I'm going to go watch this movie. I'm going to find a way to watch it. I'm going to watch it and then come back and like, I don't understand why you like that movie. And like my girlfriend, Amanda, she totally, she watched it with me once. She's like, I see why you like this.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie though.
Yeah.
And I recognize it's not a good comedy, but it's making fun of a very specific thing.
Yes.
And it's doing it in an interesting way. And that's why I like it. But at the same time, if you don't, it's also making fun of something that's very specific to that era of television.
Right.
So it doesn't work in a modern setting as well.
I mean, I think that at the end of the day, Tony, I think that the answer to your question is that not even just comedy, all entertainment is so fucking subjective that it's like very difficult to. I think that what you find entertaining / funny depends so much on how old you are. And I'm not even saying that I'm not trying to make that argument that like young people are stupid, so they like stupid things, right?
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that like I find things different. I find different things funny now that I'm 37 than I did when I was 18, right? How old you are, where you are in your life. Like if you're, when I was...
And also, I do think that, because, I mean, if you even look at more on a broad scope, and not just like on you personally over your life, if you look at it at comedy tastes in the 80s versus comedy tastes in the 90s versus comedy tastes in the early 2000s, that's, in the 10s or whatever, those are very different things. Like,
Absolutely.
They're not the same thing.
Yep.
And it's like in the 90s.
Keep going back. I mean, 70s and 60s and,
I mean, hell, let's keep Ghostbusters. Let's talk about the old Ghostbusters that was like, black and white trying to catch ghosts with fishnets.
Oh yeah.
That Dan Aykroyd was inspired by that germed the idea of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's subjective. It's all subjective.
It's fully subjective. That's the thing.
Not just to the person at what stage they're in their life, but also society as well.
Like here's I'm just going to use this as an example to talk about comedies that I like. Like I really like the movie Euro Trip. And I know a lot of people that cannot fucking stand that movie and just think it's like stinky. I love that movie. Like it's so stupid and I like it.
I actually refused to watch that movie for a long time because I just wasn't into those type of comedies.
Right.
And then a friend made me watch it, and I regretted not watching it sooner.
No, because when you watch the trailer for it, it looked like a specific type of comedy that they made in the 90s. So I don't think that you can objectively rate comedy because again, it's so objective. I will say, now on the other hand of that, I will say that as I am a little bit, not old, but as I am older, right, I find it harder. Comedy comes to me a little bit more difficult, in a more difficult way as far as movies and TV shows go, because I've seen a lot of stuff done before, right?
Yeah.
So if you're just rehashing this concept, you better do it really well, or else I'm just not. I mean, you may be a perfectly serviceable movie, but I'm not going to watch it because I've watched very few comedies these days. Like what was that one that had Jennifer Aniston in it, where it was like a road trip or a bunch of people pretending to be a good family.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
Not Jason Segel, but
Sudeikis or whatever the hell his name is.
One of those guys.
No, I know who you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of what it was called. It was like the something or other, like a family name or something.
But I mean, like Meet the Somethings, or I don't know. I mean, fuck, that's a good example. The Meet the Parents movies, I find those horrible. Like I think they're all really stupid, and I don't like
Analyze This or Analyze That. I don't like. Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't think that you can objectively say this era of comedy is better than this era of comedy. I mean, fuck, man, one of my favorite comedy bits of all time is Who's on First, and that's some old shit.
that is a good one.
And it's just a good classic. Every time, whenever
we did that as one of an intro.
Yep. Whenever anybody does that, a reference to that, I'm just like, ooh, I love that bit. So yeah. Now, and before we leave, I mean, like, I haven't seen Bridesmaids or The Heat. I did see Spy.
Yeah.
And that was okay.
I heard The Heat is actually a really good send-up to 80s action movies.
Okay.
Like as a spoof, kind of thing. Like it's, that's what I've been told. I don't know. I've never seen it, so I don't know. Like I've wanted to watch it, but it's just I've never gotten around to it.
I just, going back to what we were talking about last week, I just feel like there's so many people who feel that the Ghostbusters franchise is like this sacred cow that can never be despoiled. And as I was saying last week, I honestly think that, like, I'm not gonna throw down and say that everything other than Ghostbusters 1 was bad, but Ghostbusters 1 was the best thing in the entire Ghostbusters franchise, in my humble opinion.
I agree. And I think second, very close after that is both certain seasons of the real Ghostbusters cartoon and Extreme Ghostbusters, which I've been watching on Hulu recently because I found out it was on Hulu, and
I've never seen
that. Is a fucked up cartoon.
Yeah,
like okay. First episode, it's super creepy. Like the stuff in the cartoon is actually legitimately stuff that could give you nightmares. Like,
really?
It actually surprised me the type of stuff that's in the show.
Okay,
but there is one point where a girl is being possessed by a demon and is trying to come onto a guy, at one of the characters, and she's like, "Oh, Eduardo, you should kiss me," and he's like, "Don't you have a thing for me?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. You could put on a few pounds, like eat a sandwich or something," and then like. And then he's like, "Oh, what the hey," and starts to lead in, and then one of the other Ghostbusters goes, "No, Eduardo, don't." He goes, "What? She's legal."
Jeez.
And I was just like, "What?"
Wow. All right.
Yikes. And it was just literally one of those moments where I was like, "Did he just say what? She's legal in a fucking kids cartoon?"
Yep.
It's really good. And it's actually been a lot of fun rewatching that show because it's actually surprisingly better than I remember it, and I remember really liking it.
Okay.
But going back to it, it's like when I'm a diehard Ghostbusters fan. I will admit that there was a year where I actually watched Ghostbusters every day for a year.
That's more diehard than I am.
and I still love it the same amount that I loved it then. Like it didn't diminish or anything like that. I could literally watch that movie anytime.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this movie. And the first time someone says, how dare they despeckle the franchise of Ghostbusters this way or whatever, it's like, did you not watch 2? Don't get me wrong, I like 2. I think 2 is a good movie, but it's no Ghostbusters 1.
You know what? If Ghostbusters 2 was the only Ghostbusters movie, I don't think I would have as much nostalgia for that franchise as I do.
Yeah.
If that was the only Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a Ghostbusters 1. Anyway.
But yeah, Ghostbusters 1, I think, I don't mind that they're remaking. I don't mind that they're making it.
Again, I just keep coming back to this thing about you could make a new Ghostbusters movie starring Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, and Carrot Top, and it's not going to remove my ability to put Ghostbusters 1 into the thing and watch it.
Yeah.
Like, no matter,
I agree, 100%.
you could make it into a new series by the makers of Fuller House that's just, that's just awful and terrible, and nobody likes it. It's executive produced by Adam Sandler from the creator of Fuller House, the new Ghostbusters series on Netflix, and it's fucking awful. Guess what? I can still watch Ghostbusters, and it's still great.
Yeah.
So if the new Ghostbusters movie is a big poopy
Sony
turd,
is really trying to. It looks like they're really trying to turn this into a franchise. Apparently, they've already announced that they're going to do an animated movie, but they're not specific on it if it's going to be like supposed to be like the original characters, or if it's supposed to be the characters in the new movie, or if it's going to be completely different characters. They did say. I know at one time they were talking about doing another Ghostbusters movie that was an all male cast that would come out that would be in the same world, but not. They would reference each other, but not be those same characters.
Right.
I don't know if that ever got off the ground. I think Channing Tatum was one of the actors part of it, but that may have died somewhere. I don't know.
Did you see the new international trailer for?
No, I didn't. I didn't watch the international trailer because I saw the first trailer and I was like, okay, looks like a Ghostbusters movie. That's all I wanted. I'll watch it.
It was largely similar, except at the very end they have this bit where the Chris Hemsworth character is trying to draw them a logo, and it's just like a ghost with like. Eyes with little eyelashes and just big boobs, and they're just like, and he's like, I could make the boobs bigger if that's the problem. I don't know. It was kind of funny. All right, next up, this one comes in from bada bing bada boom Chase, who says, "Good day, mighty priest of the Donger religion. Recently, the new Fire Emblem game has been released. Being a huge fan of Awakening, I picked up Conquest, and I absolutely hated it. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay was fun, but absolutely hated the main character, and with the way the story goes, each fight began to feel more and more pointless. My question is, what is a game that you either didn't care for or absolutely hated because of the story or the characters, even though the gameplay was excellent? As always, keep up the great work. Your videos have always brought joy to my life, even during the rough times." Chase.
I've actually got an answer for that.
Excellent.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I don't like that game.
Yep.
It's mostly because I don't like the characters in that game.
Yep.
And I know you're not supposed to like them, but fuck do they make them not likable. And I can't play that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really do it for me. I will say that going back to one of my old staples, I lost a lot of interest in Fallout New Vegas when I met all the different faction leaders and was just like, yeah, fuck all you guys. Like, no, fuck all. I don't want to be on your team. I don't want to be on anybody's team. I actually the last thing I did before I stopped playing Fallout New Vegas was I turned God mode on and went and just hunted down everybody in New Vegas and shot them in the face and was like, all right, that was satisfying. I'm done.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of usually for me, I feel like it's the opposite that happens. Well, no, that's not true. I feel like that's just something that happens quite a bit. I'm trying to think of another example. Watch Dogs was kind of an interesting example of this. I fucking hated the main guy in Watch Dogs.
He was just so bland.
He was just so bland, and like, what was he doing, and why was he doing that? Like, his sister's kid was killed in a car accident.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
and it was his fault,
and then you get to the end
he
of the
felt responsible
game, and it turns out it was the mafia. Sorry, spoilers for Watch Dogs. The mafia the whole time, and it was just like, what?
Didn't they kind of telegraph that?
They did, but I remember when I saw that, I was like, no, come on, man. That's fucking stupid. You've got this game that's this wonderful, like, talking about the information age and surveillance and hacking and how we're not all... And it's just some crusty mafia don that you have to shoot at the end of the game, or, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hack the air
I never actually
conditioning
finished
system.
Watch Dogs, so...
Oh, man. It was just like... I also felt that way. I'm looking at my games up there. I know that a lot of people really like the game, but I kind of felt that way about The Evil Within as well, about what...
That is a game that I own that I've still never played.
That they spent so much time like obfuscating exactly what the hell was going on that I was like, well, now I don't care. Like I'm just
Yeah.
I
actually feel really bad because like I bought Evil Within of one of those Target like buy two get one free sale kind of thing. I think I got like that Master Chief collection and Shadow of Mordor.
Okay.
And like I played Shadow of Mordor and got engrossed in that because that was a fucking awesome game.
Yep.
Started playing the Master Chief collection because of fucking Master Chief.
Sure.
And then just forgot that I owned Evil Within, and then
Yeah.
every time I'm going like moving stuff around, I'm like, oh yeah, I own Evil Within.
I might need to go back and I don't know. I might need to go back and play it because I never like I felt like when I was playing it, I didn't get it. It didn't get its hooks into me at all.
Yeah,
So
I need to
just kinda
play it.
went
Like it's one of those things that I bought it because I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
But I never played it. Like I never even put it in the console. Never installed it. I opened it.
Yeah.
You claimed like the DLC stuff on my account, but I never installed the game, and I always forget. And then like I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to remember to play this once I'm done playing X game, and then like I'll get done playing whatever game that is, and then I'll have forgotten about it again.
Right.
Until someone
Something else.
reminds me, or I need to move things around. I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking own that game.
Yep. So here's your
Only game I've ever done that to.
Here's your 6-month reminder to play The Evil Within.
Probably try to do it sometime around Halloween.
Boy, what was the other one that I was just thinking about? Oh, you know what? It didn't actually stop me from playing the game. And I know that this has come up a few times in the past. I fucking hate Delson Rowe. I hate him so much. He is such a whiny little jerk off. I fuck it. And then when you get to the end of the game and you're just like, you were the villain, you idiot. Like the person who you were fighting against was trying to save your people. You just didn't understand because you're just like, yeah, spray paint, fuck the man, and I got neon powers and whatever.
I feel like we played a completely different game. I mean, I get it. He was a whiny little shit, but depending on how you played the game, he wasn't the villain in one way, but yeah.
I feel like he was the villain. Spoiler alert for the end of Infamous Second Son, right? If you haven't gone and played it, go play it. It's fun. Like, the woman that he's fighting against was, like, collecting the superpowered people and, like, training them in secret and getting them out from underneath the government's, like, thumb.
On the surface,
No, that was what she was doing. Like, at the end of the game,
she was
when it
also
revealed-
torturing people. Anyway, yeah, she fucking tortured his entire tribe. She practically killed people.
One person.
No.
One
like there
person.
were multiple people that were like fucked over for life because of that shit until he got her power and then came back and healed them.
I don't know about all that. Anyway, I don't know. Sure. Okay.
I agree with you that
fine.
he's a shitty character.
I just think that what she was doing, her end result was trying to save those people, not like enslave them to the government. She was trying to save the superpowered people.
Did you play a lot of the side stuff where you got a lot of the like back history, like text logs and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a lot of stuff where she was also torturing those people as well.
Yes.
Like she wasn't training them. She was trying to figure out how to give their powers to non-powered people so that she could then kill the powered people because they're a nuisance.
Okay, maybe it's been too long since I played it, but all I know is
she
that
was fucking evil.
I didn't get that. No, I disagree. I mean, like I thought that she was a much more okay. Here's what I'll say. You make a lot of good points. I don't remember those things. I do remember there being parts of it where she was like, I have to torture these people because it has to look like I'm running this organization, but that her end goal was to try to keep the government from just exterminating these people. Meanwhile, Delson Rowe's plan is like, yeah, fuck the man. I need to open up these camps and let these superpowered yahoos go all over the place and just blow stuff up and whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, I feel like there are
she had
grays.
a plan and it was a bad plan maybe and it hurt people, right? On the other hand, Delson Rowe had no plan. He just got his fucking brother killed because he couldn't do a thing that a person who was smarter or older or more responsible would tell him.
Yeah,
his only thing was
that.
just, I want spray paint stuff. You know, I hate that guy so much. First Light I really like, though. That character is much more sympathetic. But Delson Rowe, like, boy, they just start that game, and I just don't like that guy. His brother is like, hey, would you do me a favor and just not be a total douche today? And he's like, fuck you, I'm going to be the douche today. And, yeah, God, I hate that guy. Anyway, Boy, this is a long question. This comes in from Frank, the rabbit of Caerbannog. It says, greetings and salutations, purveyors of the dong. Frank, the killer rabbit of Caerbannog here, tuning in from that little country by the sea, Belgium. Proud to say that I've been a loyal listener, watcher since the olden days, and for the first time ever, I come bearing a question. Ever since my late father showed me a copy of Poltergeist when I was 5, I've always been an avid fan of every kind of horror, from jump scares to mindfucks to Michael Bay movies and back. I tend to find a delight in the horror genre. I'm not a hardcore gamer, so most of my gaming enjoyment comes from watching Let's Plays such as yours or playing games I can play in small 30 to 60-minute chunks. As of late, I find myself genuinely creeped out by something completely different, which gets under my skin like no film has ever done. Glitches in games. I saw a video of an Assassin's Creed 4 glitch the other day where the water could be partially missing and a ship would slowly rise out of the water. The caption was something along the lines of, very funny bug, but it really freaked me out. I know it shouldn't be. I know it shouldn't be having this kind of effect on me, but there's something about some of those glitches that really gets under my skin. Am I still sane, or should I start looking for some kind of asylum where I'll be friends with a Native American? My apologies for the long rant, and for all that is Doncalese. Keep the Q&A sections of the podcast alive. I'm loving the whole format. It's best to start off the week. I'm loving the whole format, and it's the best start of the week a man can have. May the divine jizz splooge forever in your favor. Frank the rabbit of Caerbannog. So, glitches. Whew. That was a long email. What do you think, John? Glitches. Terrifying? Not terrifying?
It can be. I mean, I think some of them are, obviously, some of them are funny. Some of them are, I mean, using the same game he mentioned, or not the same game, but at least the same franchise.
Yeah.
Unity.
Right.
Some of those glitches were fucking terrifying.
Or just the eyes and mouth.
And the gums and the teeth and the eyeballs and then a hairpiece.
Right.
You know, it's like some of that shit was actually creepy.
Yeah.
Some of it's fun. Like, I mean, I ran into playing Mad Max, I ran into one glitch that cracked me up that I actually recorded and put online or whatever, where it's basically like a little tiny tornado happens and it just lifted my character up in the air and just started spinning him in circles.
Oh, okay.
And just like he's just doing cartwheels in the air, and then it like moved on and then just my character dropped. And it was just like, well, that was weird.
Yeah. No, I think that a lot of times the most horrifying ones that you see are the ones where it's like a render error, right?
Yeah.
Or it's something where like the person's put a thing together and they've tried to compile it in the engine, and then suddenly like the hands are way too big.
Yeah.
Because it's something different between. I think that the reason I understand what he's saying, because I feel like those glitches are so unintentional and inhuman. Like they don't. It's not like a designed horror. It's just like something wrong that you're looking at.
Well, it's that uncanny valley. It's that things are get to the point now. They're getting so point to where you can sometimes you start to question, like, is that a person or is that the game engine?
Right.
And then some glitch happens that's just totally unnatural in any way. Like, what was it when we played Omicron or whatever? There was the one character, we were talking to her, and then she just started like hovering.
Oh yeah,
flipping,
turning.
And turning. And we're just like, what's going on? I mean, mind you, that one wasn't realistic, but it was still a weird, kind of a jarring thing to see happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's as we get to this era where the graphic fidelity is so good.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are moments where it's like, I can't tell if this is game or if this is a live action footage.
Right.
And then to have them be like, some weird glitch happen.
Yeah.
That could fuck with you.
Well, plus it doesn't ever look. It looks so strange. It's so other and off-putting that I feel like it taps different. Like if I see a screaming blood skeleton, that's not really very scary to me. Whereas I've actually watched some videos of like game developers that are working on an engine and they're trying things out, and they're like, here's my failure reel of things that didn't work out quite right. We were just like, that is a horrifying thing. Like I know that a lot of people get really freaked out by that Google AI image creator thing.
Yeah, the dreams thing.
That tends to sit like eyeballs an awful lot.
Yeah.
I actually think those are really cool looking personally.
Yeah, it was actually one really cool GIF I saw where someone actually animated, like put every frame of a video in the thing and then put them together and watched it be animated.
What? That sounds great.
It was like with a frog jumping around.
Oh, cool.
Like I don't know, like Amanda showed it to me. I thought it was like really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Just to see this, like I was like, I feel like I'm on drugs.
Yeah.
like I am on drugs right now and I haven't taken anything, kind of thing. But it was just really crazy.
No, this is something else. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's see. We got a couple more questions. Let's see. I think I'm going to cut one of these. Beep, 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 beep. All right, let's do this one. This comes in from Julio, who says, "Hey, Jeff and John." Well, you actually addressed it right to me, so I don't want to loop you in with the next assumption, just in case, John. It says, "You've talked multiple times of your dislikes of updated releases on the PS4/Xbox One, the last gen games, and I'm personally getting tired of it as well. But I won't lie, I was kind of hoping some of my personal favorites of the 7th generation would make it onto the PS4. Some games I'm hoping that are coming soon are the Mass Effect trilogy, Metal Gear Rising, Assassin's Creed Rogue, Infamous 1 and 2, possibly Bayonetta 1 and 2. You'll never see Bayonetta 2 on anything besides that Nintendo console.
I don't think you'll see Bayonetta 1 on anything else.
Probably
either.
not. And 2 games that are most likely are never going to get the PS4 treatment, Final Fantasy 13-2 and Lightning Returns. So, Jeff and John, what are some not that old games that you want to be released on the PS4? Thanks for answering, Julio. I'm going to expand that to say PS4 or Xbox One.
Yeah. I really, really want... And I don't have to worry about it anymore. I was like, you know what I really like is an HD release of like Alan Wake.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh, well, now if you buy digitally,
but that's just the Xbox 360 version.
It is the Xbox. But I'm happy that I can play it on my Xbox One.
Right.
Like that's kind of the thing. It's like, oh, well, I can play it on my Xbox One. That's all I wanted.
I mean, actually, it seems like with Quantum Break coming out, that they would it would maybe behoove them to. I mean, because there's a PC version of Alan Wake, right? Like, it seems like you could port that pretty easily to the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for me,
Brutal Legend's another one.
Yeah?
Yeah. It'll never happen because of the rights and stuff with the music, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that must be a mess. Honestly, hey, man, I almost got through an entire podcast, John, but I'd really it really kind of upsets me that I still have to plug in my PlayStation. Well, okay. Dark Souls on the PC is phenomenal and super good looking, and I really wish that game was available on the PS4 if you had... I mean, what I'd really like if I had my druthers was to be able to buy Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne and play any of them on the PS4 without having to plug in another thing. I'd really like for them to go back in and remaster Demon Souls. Like, it's a flawed game, and I think that people a lot of times over-exaggerate. There's some really good parts in it, but I feel like people exaggerate how good it is because they're such big fans of the Soulsborne stuff. But it's still a little hard to look at. I think that it would work really well as something, especially because Sony owns the rights to it, that they could get it onto the PlayStation. Also, it's funny, Persona 4 Golden, you can buy on the PlayStation 3, you can get the PS2 ROM for Persona 4.
Okay.
And you can play Persona 4 Golden on your TV through the Vita TV, right? But you can't play Persona 4 legit the updated remastered version on either the PS3 or the PS4. And I think that that's a game that could really do with some next gen love. It's got a really nice art style to it that I feel would stand up, regardless of HD or not.
Another thing, not to bring up the Kickstarter or anything like that, but I actually wouldn't mind seeing Shenmue 1 and 2 get re-released.
Yeah.
Especially since they're doing Shenmue 3, I guess, maybe at some point. They got a shit ton of money for it. I know they're doing this weird thing where they're going to be releasing these animated, almost movies that summarize important things that happened in those games.
Okay.
So that people who pick up Shenmue 3 don't have to play the previous 2 games.
Right.
But I would actually like Shenmue 1 and 2 to be put on a new console, even if they don't update the graphics. Just put them on. I mean, I don't know if they can. They may not be able to. That's kind of the thing. But I'd be totally okay with that. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff from the last era that I like. I am a little surprised that we don't have a Mass Effect trilogy pack. Weren't they going to do that? Wasn't that a thing that was in the pipeline?
Well, I mean, it came out for both 360 and
PS3.
PS3. There was a Mass Effect trilogy collection, but I don't know if there was ever.
I thought I remember reading
PS4
something.
or Xbox One. I mean, there might be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would assume they.
Well, this is just a news story on GameSpot that says, "Don't expect PS4, Xbox One, Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster.
Oh, okay.
BioWare hasn't ruled it out, but there are no plans right now to bring the first 3 games to the Xbox One or the PS4.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of games out there. Man, I really would like, I mean, as much as I know that it's not going to happen, I really would like a super crisp. I'd settle for PC version of Bayonetta 1. It's such a fun game, but the only places that I have to play it are the crappy PS3 version or the Xbox 360 version, which is not super crappy, but it's still, like,
You
I
also
really
have
wish
the Wii U.
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it's really polished, even compared to the Xbox 360 version.
No, that's true. That means I have to plug in my Wii U.
Yeah.
Boo.
Just reminding you, it is on the Wii U. And you do own it.
I do. All right, one more question. This one comes in from Mark, and Mark says, Dear Rage Select, 2 dumb hypotheticals for you. First one, admittedly ripped straight from Giant Bomb. Okay. You are in a real-life death match between yourself and another person of equal size. You are offered a choice of weapons between an aluminum baseball bat and a non-serrated knife. Whichever you choose, your opponent gets the other. Which one is the smarter choice?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
the baseball bat.
Yeah, I would think so, too. Well, I don't know.
I mean, you can knock the knife out of his hand.
Maybe. Unless the other person knows how to use a knife.
Yeah.
Then they could maybe take if they could move in close to you and take the hit with the baseball bat, you only get one shot, basically, right? And then if you miss...
Maybe.
Or if
Depends on where you hit him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hit him in the nuts with a baseball bat. All right, I'm on John's side.
I was also saying the knees or the head.
No. You had it right the first time.
Yeah.
Bash him in the nuts with a baseball bat. All right, second scenario. You are now executive producer on SSX the movie. Ugh. Given an unlimited budget and veto power on all decisions, who do you hire to do what, and what changes do you make to prevent this from becoming as much of a disaster as it will inevitably be? Maybe start with the name. Hope you have a few minutes of fun with these at least, Mark. So if I had unlimited money, the first thing I would do would be hire somebody else to make SSX the movie.
Okay.
Okay.
Hear me out on this.
All right.
Hear me out.
So tell me.
Michael Bay.
Yes! I am hearing you, and I fully understand. Yes. Dude, I want Michael Bay to make an 80s ski movie, like Save the Rec Center. I think it's got to be, if you're going to make a ski movie, it's got to be, what movie is that? Is it a John Cusack movie where he's just skiing the rec center?
Well, it's not a skiing rec center thing, but there's a John Cusack movie where he does ski that's Better Off Dead.
Is that Better Off Dead? Okay.
But that one's a weird movie. I actually really like that movie.
Better Off Dead is a weird movie. That's the one where the kid is chasing him for his $2.
Yeah, just give me my $2.
Yeah.
Where's my $2? But no.
Yeah, Save the Rec Center. Only Michael Bay could portray the right stereotypical
and you know
evil...
what studio it would have to be at?
Who?
The newly brought back Canon Films.
Hell yeah! You know, you have got all the best answers for this particular question. Damn right. Who would you cast as the lead?
Oh God, I don't even remember what characters were in.
Oh, SSX?
Yeah, SXX or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know anything about SSX.
I just whoever
dated a girl.
whoever the teen heartthrob is at the moment.
Justin Bieber.
No, well,
Channing
maybe
Tatum.
Channing Tatum, sure, if he wants to do it. I was just saying, I don't know, the dude that played fucking Edward Cullen. I don't know.
Oh,
in the Twilight movies.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, I would probably just make the completely ridiculous movie.
Yeah.
I'd go find like a writer. Speaking of comedy, I'd go find a writer that made a comedy that I enjoyed in the last 2 or 3 years and be like, or the Lego movie guys, the 21 Jump Street guys. Who are those guys?
The Russo brothers?
Is that who wrote them?
Yeah, aren't they the same?
I don't know. All I know is that
yeah, those guys would be perfectly good to write it.
Lego movie seemed like
they would be good to direct it too.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right, so we done it. And with that, we're actually completely done with this podcast.
Hey.
Extra long podcast for you guys this week. So if you have questions, send them into mail@rageselect.com, and we will read them on the podcast.
Jeff will read them.
I will read them.
Whoever else is on the podcast will just sit back and answer the questions.
I like to think, John, that you're always here on the podcast in spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
No.
Okay. Are you ready?
Wait.
Are you ready? We got to start the podcast. Oh, my dog just jumped up because he thinks I'm asking if somebody is ready. He's ready.
Wait, we're starting the podcast?
We're starting the podcast.
I thought we were ending the podcast.
All right, everybody, we're getting ready for the podcast. Woo!
I'm not ready.